Alan Nil said their game at home to Southampton was too big for referee Adam Herzeg. Chris Wilder was sent off for booting a ball into one of his own fans as the Blades lost 2-1. Wilder immediately made sure the guy was okay. Rob Edwards was annoyed Middlesbrough didn't get a penalty. They stay top, though, after a goalless draw with Stoke, who moves second. More at talkSPORT.com.
talkSPORT News.
From today, GP surgeries must offer all online appointment requests, but the BMA has safety concerns, and energy bills go up for millions as the new price cap takes effect. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
In the north, cloudy and breezy. Heavy rain in the east, gradually clearing, with further rain expected in western Scotland. That'll be heavy tonight, mostly dry elsewhere with sunny spells developing.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We're live on talkSPORT. So a mixed night in Europe as Chelsea win, Spurs draw and Liverpool lose. Has the £400 million summer investment made Liverpool better? Meanwhile, the Premier League tax or the idiot tax? Are they now one of the same thing for clubs in England? Also today, have Chelsea got a discipline problem? Can Wilder revive Sheffield United? Has Howard Webb's transparency drive just led to further scrutiny? The Ryder Cup captaincy, is it too soon for Rose? And is it a miss for football that we won't ever encounter Klopp, the manager, again? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Now, Danny, it's been a week of visits to the dentist for people in this very building.
Really?
I was at the dentist on Monday. Oh, yeah, I was in yesterday. Andy Goldstein was at the dentist. I heard him on his show. And Simon was at the dentist as well. And you were off yesterday. How did you manage to recover? Was it tough?
Yeah. I had 3 hours and a bone graft. You had a couple of forces put in.
Oh, you was off yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I was.
A bone graft. It was a great show.
It is his first day off.
I don't know if you heard, it got a great reaction to the show yesterday.
I would imagine Goldstein couldn't have had his wisdom teeth pulled out because he can't afford that, can he?
Who filled in?
I was on with Alex Crook and Stuart Pearce, and it was a much celebrated show at 1 o'clock.
A happier show,
off
apparently.
air. Oh, honestly.
Luke was saying a much happier
So they
show.
needed 2 people to replace Simon.
The initial signs are the audience figure was enormous. We'll get confirmation of that later on today, and I'll be in touch.
It's very
with,
important. There's a rule in business that a business can't run if you're not in it. If a business runs badly when you're not in it, it's not a very good business. So when I'm absent and it's still running well, it means that I've seeded it well.
Yeah. I see. It hasn't really affected your gob. Well,
it has a little bit because I couldn't get the words out there for a second.
You're pretty chatty. Anyway, how are you? You've come through it.
I feel like crap, to be honest, but here I am.
Here you are.
You look well.
Good to
Thank
see you.
Well, next to Jim, anyone does, doesn't they?
For me, yeah.
It was quite a night. Danny, good morning, incidentally.
Good morning.
Ryder Cup, we'll get to it. You and I touching that through there. You were as crazy as I was on Sunday night.
Loved it.
I mean,
I was nervous.
Yeah.
That was nervous.
I watched it all.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did. You got me into it. I watched it all.
It is captivating, isn't it? Because of the crowds and the team together. It's a different watch.
Yeah,
That's why I think so many people watch you aren't really that into golf.
Sure. All sorts of questions now arising. Is it going to be Rose, the captain for the Europeans in 2 years' time? Will it be Luke Donald again for a third time? Is it going to be Tiger captaining the US of A? We'll get to that later on this morning. The Champions League last night. Chelsea beat Benfica, Spurs draw at Bodo Glimt, while Liverpool lose to Galatasaray. I took in the Liverpool game, Danny.
So did I, yeah.
Do you know what? They lose it 1-0, and it's a powder keg of an atmosphere. But I mean, that's to be conquered, isn't it? We all know that Istanbul, it's scary. Go in there and beat them. After a seamless debut season, are we experiencing the first blip of the slot era, Danny?
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Unfortunately, I think it's been, in many ways, the performances this season haven't been great, full stop. The results have masked the poor performances in many ways. So I suppose the last couple of results have been coming in some people's eyes. But, yeah, there looks a little bit of lethargy there, especially off the ball, defensively, a little bit wide open. Carragher was talking about being more like games of basketball. I see what he means. I think that's fair. Very unlike the composed Liverpool we saw under Slot last season. So he's got some work to do.
He has.
Got some work to do.
Arne Slot, Danny spoke to Arne Slot on a one-to-one basis just the other day, but of course last night in Istanbul, Slot did speak about that defeat.
Disappointing, because you play football to win a game, and that's what we didn't do. For me, it was a different loss than the one we had against Palace. Because for me, there was a lot more to like, especially in the first half, which was maybe different to the Palace game. And in the second half, it became harder and harder for us to create. First of all, because they were fighting with all they had, so you always have to give credits to them. Second of all, because we hardly played in the second half.
It seemed
that... And we've hardly played, I mean, the ball was hardly in play.
So, Danny, those frailties, have they been evident since the word go this season?
My earpiece ain't working, so I didn't hear exactly what he said there, sorry. But I think defensively there's a problem, yeah. They don't look as compact. He has talked a few times about 4 or 5 missing pre-season, which I get. There's new players as well, learning their roles in the team. He's chopped and changed it a bit more. Last season he played more or less the same team. So there's problems there for him to fix, that's for sure. But I think first and foremost that comes defensively. I think at the weekend we'll probably see a more last season type team. Robertson coming back in. Salah will obviously come back in. I think in midfield he'll go with the tried and trusted.
What did you make of the defensive performance on Saturday against Palace? Specifically, Canati.
He's struggling.
He's miles off, isn't he?
He's struggling. He's had the odd good game, but he's struggling. And I don't know whether that's a mental thing because of the lack, he's not signed the deals, a lot of speculation. I don't know if he's been tapped up. I don't know if he's just lacking confidence.
He didn't come out last night well either.
No, he's struggling.
Yeah.
The fans are on him a little bit. But he for a long time, he's been very good. So everyone can have a bad spell. The problem is without getting Gay, of course, that they've only got Gomez who can come in, and he's not quite as physically powerful as Canate, but he might come in at the weekend against Chelsea.
I mean, Simon, a £400 million plus investment. Do they look worse?
Ooh, they've lost a couple of games. They're top of the Premier League. They lost to Nottingham Forest at home last season in their first 3 or 4 games.
They did, yeah.
The only difference in this situation is they haven't looked as a short. And I remember watching Liverpool in the first game of the season against Ipswich away, and they weren't looking great then either.
Last season, you mean?
Yeah, last season.
Yeah.
So let's get things into context. They're top of the Premier League. They've lost to Palace, who have not been beaten by anybody in 18 games, including some of the best teams in the country. So there's no great shame there. The fact is that because they've spent 400 million quid over 3 transfer windows, like we've discussed previously, not as a result of a £400 million spend every single window. They've replaced some players that were forced to be playing through tragedies, which increased expenditure they probably wouldn't have had to do in the first place. So they're just going through a little bit of a blip for 5 seconds.
Well, are they? Is it a little bit of a blip?
Yeah.
Jimmy Carragher on CBS last night. Have a listen.
The last 2 games are not concerning. I think Liverpool's full 9 games this season have been very concerning, and I was worried about Liverpool very early on, and I expressed that to the manager on the side of the pitch.
Wow.
Against Bournemouth in the first league game, where Liverpool ends up winning 4-2. I don't feel like I'm watching a top team. Liverpool aren't playing football at the moment, they're playing basketball. And it's just end to end, and I don't think top teams play like that.
And Thierry Henry alongside him, suitably gobsmacked by that. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I make him right. It is a bit all over the place, even from day one. The Bournemouth game, end to end, could have gone either way. Newcastle game against 10 men who are under the cosh, bizarrely. So there is a bit of disorganisation, especially compared to the composure of the team we saw last season, seeing out games well, keeping possession well, managing games better. But there's a lot of change. I'm not particularly concerned. Those players, the good ones he's brought in, are going to adapt and get better. It is unusual that most of them, apart from Ekitike, you'd say, most of them have struggled, the new players. Maybe that's the size of the task or the pressure of it for young lads to come into a club like Liverpool where they're expected to win. Maybe it's the amount of money, or who knows.
Yeah.
I expected them to adapt a bit better, but ultimately they've got an abundance of talent that will, and the cream always
will
rises.
assemble itself. I imagine that Slot was all ears with his notebook, making sure that he got every single thing that Jamie said down so we could react to it. Look, I mean, I like Jamie, and I think a lot of the time what Jamie says is worth listening to. In this instance, he's making noise on a television show to create some sort of reaction in it. You're top of the Premier League. You may not be playing particularly well, but I think the key component of any side is if you can win the majority of the games that you play in whilst not playing very well, there ain't too much wrong with you. And if you've got the assembled parts, I mean, I'm quite glad that Isak hasn't hit the ground running because I'd like to see him struggle a little bit. Mean-spirited of me, I know, but notwithstanding it. And I look at it and think to myself, well, what is there to worry about, really?
But they're struggling a bit.
Well, they've not hit...
Is Jamie not just saying what he sees?
He says that
they're struggling.
I tell you what he says. He says they don't look like a top team. I get that.
Yeah.
Because
They are top.
Well, they're top of the table.
Yeah.
But as I said the other week, sticking up for Arteta and
And they beat Arsenal.
The silliness around...
And they beat Arsenal, who are most people's favourites, besides Liverpool, to win the league.
Yeah, they did beat Arsenal. But what I'm saying is people jumped on Arteta when he didn't beat Man City at home or whatever it is, you know? It's a moment in time. Liverpool and Arsenal will be up there fighting for the title.
Absolutely. And there'll be very little to worry about.
It's no surprise, though, that they are being scrutinised. They're being looked at very, very closely. And I remember, Danny, when we heard that they're in for Wirtz.
I know where this is going.
And I do remember you said at the time, oh, that's it. They get him, then there's no worries about anything. That was before Isak. And I think that was before Ekitike. Now, Wayne Rooney believes that Wirtz damages the balance of Liverpool. Rooney was saying last night, I don't see where he gets into the team. I think it was a lot of money. He says, I've seen players come into this league and it takes time. It's not the price tag. So what was it, like 111 million? But it's not the player or his ability. I don't see where he fits into what Liverpool do in the system. Is he a third midfield player? For me, no, he's an attacking player. So if I have to choose between him and Szoboszlai, then I choose Szoboszlai.
Well, I mean, it's easy where he fits in. He's a 10, and he'll play ahead of two midfielders like he has on most occasions he's worn the shirt. The fact he hasn't played as well as we know he can is a different subject to where he fits in. It's not difficult to see where he fits in. If he'd have gone into a team full of confidence and everyone flying, he'd be fine. But he's got a big pressure on his shoulders with the amount he was bought for. But where he plays is obvious. Liverpool played Szoboszlai in that role last year. He's different. He's more athletic. He's better defensively. But Wirtz was brought in to take up that role because he's more creative than Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai's numbers of goals and assists.
Are you seeing that creativity?
I'm seeing glimpses of it, yeah.
He's yet to score, and he hasn't contributed to a goal since his assist in the community.
Yeah, but he's had moments where you see it.
When you look at it, you expected more from him.
Yeah.
You must have done.
Oh, God, yeah.
Everybody did.
You can't deny it. But
yet to score and hasn't contributed to a goal since the community.
I'm not worried about him.
No?
No. I think physically he'll get better. He looks a bit off it physically, but some of the touches and the vision and the passes. He should have had a couple of assists, some bad finishes, especially in I think it was the Everton game.
I mean, Simon, to be fair to Carragher and Rooney, two former top players.
Yeah.
And they're saying what they see.
What's that got to do with management?
They're saying what they see.
I would imagine...
Well, they said two different things.
You're saying they're doing it for reaction. Or
in this instance, I would suggest, again, I'm going to be mean-spirited, I would suggest the manager that's main focus in life is to get teams relegated wouldn't really be giving advice to a manager that's won the Premier League. I don't think Arne Slot's got blind spots that Wayne Rooney's going to fill for him.
Yeah, but Wayne knows a player when he sees one.
He's a player. There's a vast difference between a player and a manager. Wayne can't necessarily give the same advice to a manager about how to assemble a team. He can tell you what an elite player looks like and what an elite player does because he was one.
But Danny's never managed, so can he not criticise a manager?
Well, if his criticism is objective, but if you're suggesting that Danny knows more about management than Arne Slot, and Arne Slot's got a blind slot that needs to be filled by Danny, I'd say maybe not.
But what's not objective about what Wayne says about Wirtz there?
Well, he does say...
No, but he doesn't know why he gets in the team and where he plays. Mm-hmm. He's just answered that question for you. He's told you where he plays. And ultimately, he's not playing very well. He's not playing well enough.
Is Wayne right? Wirtz is more of an attacking player?
He is.
So if he chooses between him and Szoboszlai, he goes Szoboszlai.
Well, he would at the moment because Szoboszlai's playing better. And
so Wayne's got a point.
He's got a point temporarily in terms of that he choose Szoboszlai ahead of Wirtz. But to say he doesn't know where he fits in... Well,
that's the point.
Is what Wayne is saying here, is it valid at this time?
Which part?
Where Liverpool are. I don't see where he gets in the team.
Well, no,
Wirtz damages the balance of Liverpool.
Well, if you can't see where he gets in the team, you've not been watching Liverpool. He gets in the team as a 10. The reason they brought him in is because they don't want a Szoboszlai-like player in that position. They want a more creative player. That's why they brought him in. The fact he's not doing it right now, people will go towards Szoboszlai as a selection because he gives them the athleticism and the tenacity, because they think that's what's the...
So is Jamie wrong when he says, Carragher says, Wirtz maybe needs to be taken out of the team at the moment?
No, that might be fair. I think at Chelsea he won't play. I think he'll play McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, because it's tried and tested and he needs to get back to some results. And Wirtz can build up his physical presence and get sharper and build, he doesn't have to play with him. He left him out for the Everton game.
Okay, well, let's put it out there this morning before we go any further. We heard from Carragher. We've heard quotes from Rooney. We hear from Danny this morning and Simon. But Liverpool fans, the champions transition, how do you evaluate it at this particular time? How do you evaluate it? 6 clean sheets from their first 10 games last year have slipped to only 2 this year. What do you see when you look at Liverpool right now? Give us a call, 03717 22 344 81089. morning, everybody. Wednesday morning, I should say. Wednesday, October the 1st, indeed. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy were live in talkSPORT. At Stamford Bridge last night, the home support sang the name of Jose Mourinho on more than one occasion. Some would say the sycophantic Mourinho fanfare has now come and gone. Benfica left, having lost. What did it tell us? We'll get to that shortly. In the meantime, we are talking about Liverpool. Are they having a bit of a blip at the moment? It would seem so. And we're putting out to Liverpool fans the morning after the night before, and the night before in Istanbul, Liverpool lost to Galatasaray 1-0. The champions' transition. How do you evaluate it? 03717 223344. Ricky, Liverpool fan, first up. How do you evaluate it, mate? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, guys. I'm glad you got me on because I need to get it off my chest. So,
okay.
Basically, I've been watching Liverpool now since obviously the beginning of the season. It's not right. The team is not right. I believe personally, we don't have the balance right. We shouldn't have let Luis Diaz go, right? Because the wingers are not right. There's no pace up the sides. Yeah, that's not right. Definitely problem in defence. Yeah, you can see that Liverpool haven't got the with Konate for the start. Yesterday, I watched him and he was making mistakes all over the park, and he's been doing it for quite a few games now. I think not buying Gay was a big mistake. And one more thing, I think, is a defensive midfielder. Yeah, I think this is where we lack a proper defensive midfielder. But I think the main problem is the wingers. Salah's slow now. Yeah, we've got Gakpo on the other end. Yeah, and I don't think we're getting down them channels properly. I think that's the problem.
Right, so here's more than it seems there are more than a few problems. He didn't mention Florian Wirtz. We'll get to that. The caller mentioned balance on more than a few occasions, Dan.
Well, I mean, defensive midfielder Gravenberg's probably been one of the best in Europe for the last 12 months, 18 months. So I mean, that's nonsense. And they've got Endo on the bench if they need someone to come in and just be tenacious.
I don't think it's nonsense.
Pardon?
I don't think it's nonsense. Because,
well, you might not, but everyone else seems to.
I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. Because they're going to overplay Gravenberg, yeah? He's going to get injured. What's going to happen then?
Well, they put Endo in, don't they?
Endo's too slow.
I'm not saying he's the world's best, but who are you going to get in to sit on the bench? Who are you going to get in to sit on the bench? Endo played 3/4 of the season when Liverpool were going for the quadruple in Klopp's last year.
In these games, my friend, Danny, you need a proper defensive midfielder. Gravenberg has been our best player, probably one of the best players in the Premier League, yeah? You see what Arsenal done to Sacco, yeah? They overplayed him, yeah? You got to understand that Liverpool can't afford to lose Gravenberg, Van Dijk, yeah, and Isak, yeah? They're our spine of the team, yeah? Once you start losing players like that, yeah, you've had it. Liverpool are an ordinary team at the moment. They're losing. An
ordinary team at the moment.
One of the problems, the fullbacks have been a problem. We look a bit vulnerable in fullback areas, that's for sure. Hence the fact he's been playing Szoboszlai there. So Bradley's not been fit pre-season. He's just getting his fitness up. And Frimpong's had struggled a little bit. So wide areas has been a problem. Centre midfield isn't a problem right now. Yes, ideally you'd want another holding midfielder who's brilliant, who you can bring in, but nobody has world-class players.
October, Danny. 1st of October today, and we're getting used to Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday.
But
we're into it.
Liverpool did it last season. Gravenberch didn't miss a game.
Let's hear from Matthew, who's a big Liverpool fan.
Where's this thing that everybody's going to get injured?
Matthew, you heard from you heard from Ricky, who's a big Liverpool fan there. What's your take on it all?
Where do you want to start? The only thing I'd say on that point that the previous callers mentioned that me and my mates have been talking about is last summer they were banging the drum about Bayern, do you remember? And then obviously this summer, and they obviously would have had a conversation with Gravenberch about plenty playing there, but then this summer they haven't even invested in midfield. They have probably got the numbers, but then I think if you look at McAllister, he's not started. He missed the last 5 games of last season, and he's come in this season, in and out. And there will be a temptation of like in, out. But for me, my main point I want to say is, you don't want to lose games. I've watched the Crystal Palace game, 4, 5, 6, it could have been at half-time. Liverpool don't even look like scoring in the last 2 games. There's been a combination of players being added to the team. There's too many new players coming at once. And we've mentioned that the fullbacks. I came in after the Newcastle call. Liverpool would have played Newcastle and Gordon would have stayed on that pitch. Liverpool would have got 2 or 3 down. That midfield with Florian Wirtz in that midfield, the balance, as everyone said, is there. He is wide open. He doesn't want to defend. Mo Salah doesn't want to defend. And the bottom line right now, you take Van Dijk out the team, you take Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, the rest of them players, they're just low on confidence. No one's performing. Them 4 players who came on last night, they didn't even lay a glove on them.
Danny, what do you make of what Matthew's saying? They're a lot more open, that's for sure.
They are. I think we could dissect lots of tactical points. Right, you could. And we could do it for hours because there's loads of different areas of the pitch where you could talk about who should play and why he's not.
Have too many new ones come in? Simon, we hear that.
Too many new players have come in an ideal situation. You wouldn't want that many in at once, but he had to. Diaz wanted out. Nunes wanted out. Jota passed away, God forbid. God love him, rest his soul, yeah. You also had, who else left? Trent. He wanted to go. So there had to be a big number of new players come in. The fact is, Liverpool, although they haven't played well, are sitting top of the league. And just one thing on the mid, they're sitting, and they will get it. They'll be fine. The midfield situation. This is a team that won the league last year with the midfield they've got, won the Premier League, and the only way they got knocked out of the Champions League on penalties by the champions of Europe.
Is the opposition better now? So in order for them to maintain their position, are Arsenal not better? Do you not think Arsenal are better?
Well, they're a bit better, yeah. But okay. Right. But I'm talking. I thought you meant better than Liverpool's midfield.
No. But what I'm saying is that if the bar's been raised, then Liverpool have got to either maintain the standard or raise the bar themselves.
Well, they brought players in. So they thought Wirtz was going to improve their creativity from that midfield, and at the moment he isn't. But they still have Szoboszlai to go back in there and play what they played last season. They've got loads of options. Curtis Jones, terrific player, England international. You know, they're not struggling.
It's also interesting when you listen to callers can't phone in like it's supermarket sweep. Right, you've spent £400 million on players. Which one of those players would you not have had? Okay, I'd have had all of them. Right, so then would you have had Liverpool spend another £200 million? Are you advocating for Liverpool to spend £600-700 million?
I think Matthew's
is that
still
the madness
with us.
Of it all?
Matthew, would you have had all of them, the ones who have come in?
Well, I think Andy Robertson's been harshly treated, so he didn't need to be bombed off straight away. So he could have drip-fed Kerkez because he's struggling.
I think he will. I think he will drip-feed him now. I think Rob will go back.
He needs to come in on Saturday.
Yeah.
The right back situation's bizarre because you've got 2 right backs. One's obviously struggling for fitness, the other one's settling. But you're playing your most aggressive, most energetic player right wing because he started the season well, and he's probably thinking to myself, I've got to get him in the team somewhere because I paid $100 million for Wirtz. But I said after the Newcastle game, you've got Wirtz and Salah. They don't want to go the other way. They don't run back. There's no energy in that field. Luis Diaz, whether he wanted to go, whether he didn't want to go, whether Liverpool wouldn't want to give a 20-year-old a new 4 or 5 year deal, I don't know. But the bottom line is, he was so energetic. Cody Gakpo looks absolutely shocked.
So, Matthew, briefly, do you go into the game at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea on Saturday with confidence?
You've always got to be confident as a Liverpool fan with the players you've got available. But right now, the biggest problem is they're conceding goals for fun and they're too open. They don't take defending seriously. Liverpool haven't taken defending seriously, probably since Rafa Benitez. They're not. If they put so much effort in attack as they do in defence, you'd see a different kettle of fish.
Okay, Matthew, listen, thanks for that. Many points. Do you want to add to that at all, Danny?
Well, they had the second best defence last year in the league. So, I mean, Jesus. The reality is, when Liverpool lose a couple of games, like any big club, people get panicky and jump on and look for little things.
Just Toby, Danny's undoubtedly wearing his Liverpool tinted glasses this morning.
Why? I'm the one who said they've been poor and they've got away with results this season. There's loads of room for improvement and some of the players need to kick up the bum. And
are you confident they win at Chelsea on Saturday?
I still think, I wouldn't say super confident now. Chelsea are a good side, but I would fancy them to react and get something. I don't think they'll lose.
Okay. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy on a Wednesday morning, October the 1st, and we're live in talkSPORT with Selgos, where the trade goes. Good morning, everybody. Wednesday morning, October the 1st. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy. We're live in talkSPORT, live in your telly as well. Even Prime Video, wherever you watch, we are here for you. A variety of different questions we hope to answer for you this morning. Has Howard Webb's transparency drive just led to further scrutiny? We shall get into that because it goes on and on. VAR, on the field refereeing, all sorts of decisions still under the spotlight. We'll get to that later on this morning. So much for Liverpool. They go to Istanbul and lose. Chelsea entertained Jose Mourinho's Benfica and won. Some would say the sycophantic Mourinho fanfare has come and gone. Right from the word go, as soon as he set foot back in London, it was welcome Jose. And Mourinho, of course, lapped it up.
Yeah, but I don't feed myself with these memories. I feed myself with victories and results. Of course, I thank them. I did it on the pitch. Of course, I was focused on the game, but you have always a little bit of the sound. And of course, I thank them. You know, I live around, and when I am in London, I meet them every day on the street. I know that is going to be a relation forever. Hopefully I come back here in 20 years with my grandkids, and they belong to my history and I belong to their history.
We'll get to Chelsea in a moment, but I mean, Simon, to be fair to him, he achieved an enormous amount in his time at Chelsea. But it's also fair to say, is it not, that he is something of a faded force these days, is he not? Jose Mourinho.
Well, nothing lasts forever, does it? I mean, no one goes on forever and ever and ever. That doesn't mean that what they've done historically should be dimmed or diminished. He had a relationship with Chelsea. I think it was a relationship towards the end of his first tenure, which was quite self-centred, because I think once upon a time, Abramovich gave him everything, and in the season when he didn't, he engineered a departure, and there was a big pouring of emotion about Mourinho leaving, even against someone like Abramovich. But he's a unique part of Chelsea's history. It's where Chelsea turned from a club of reasonable standard into a manufactured club that won things, because one man came along and decided to build this football club in his own image, i.e. his money, Roman Abramovich. And the first light in that tunnel was Mourinho. He came in, he won them the Premier League, their first win of a Premier League, and he set up the pattern that then unfolded for the next 15, 20 years. So, of course, I mean, football fans are very nostalgic in certain ways. They laud and applaud their heroes, even the ones they've booed out the door. They come back in 5, 10 years' time and they seem to have gotten amnesia, and they applaud those guys. So it's no surprise to me that they would have applauded Mourinho. They were cheering for him a couple of years ago. They were cheering for Roman Abramovich a couple of years ago because things weren't going quite the way they thought they were entitled to go with Todd Bowley's ownership, forgetting the fact that their club nearly went extinct, that someone come along and bought £2.5 billion. So it's no surprise to me that he got a hero's welcome. What you think of that is kind of irrelevant. The Chelsea fans themselves hold him in high regard, and he has been back there on 2 tenures. He divides opinion. I've always been in the Mourinho camp. I think he's an inveterate winner. I think at this stage in his career, there are new forces, like there is in everything. Snooker players don't go on forever. We don't suddenly say that Ronnie O'Sullivan is no longer a great player because the next generation of managers or snooker players are better than he is now because of they're at their peak of their powers. And Mourinho is no longer at the peak of his powers.
The story of this one, Danny, an own goal, 1-0 Chelsea, João Pedro red-carded. You know, for the third time in 4 games, Chelsea end a match with 10 men. Have they got a discipline problem?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, the two of them are just challenges, trying to win the ball, and you end up depriving the opposition of a chance on goal, so you get a red. They weren't stupid, ill-disciplined, petulant tackles. You know, a second yellow's silly. But he's got that in him, João Pedro. He's quite temperamental, but he's a young lad. The problem is if you've got a group of youngsters and not much experience there, you are going to get ill-discipline at times or, you know, rash challenges. I thought Chalobah, to be fair, has been great for them. So that one little mistake, he's trying to save a goal, you know, save him going through. So, no, I wouldn't say that just yet, no.
Yeah.
He'll be fuming with the João Pedro one because at the moment he's really crucial for them, you know, with Delap being injured. So he'll be frustrated at that, Maresca.
Let's hear from Maresca. He spoke about the red card post-match.
I think Newcastle and Flamengo red card, they were for bad action. Then Sanchez is not for bad action, it's just because he wants to defend the goal. Chalobah is because he wants to defend the goal. And tonight, I think the second yellow card, Joao not even touch the other player, but the dynamic of the action is dangerous one. So for me personally, there is not any concern or any issue in behind. It's just a moment that probably you need to take a different reason and avoid, for instance, Robert foul after 2-3 minutes, or even the other day against Brighton, 15 minutes, we were 1-0 up. Sometimes it's better to concede the goal or the chance, because then it's 11-11, you have 40 more minutes. So for me personally, there is not any problem behind.
Just looking at it, I mean, they lost in Munich, Simon. They win last night. But Chelsea's start to the season, played 6, won 2, drawn 2, lost 2. Where are you with them? Where are they?
It's a slightly inauspicious start, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I don't tab thump quite the way that they might have done about winning the World Club Championship. It was there, they won it, fantastic. It doesn't make them the best team in the world. It makes them the best team in that particular competition. And that's what they did, and that's what the outcome was. I expect Chelsea to be a competitive force this year. I don't think they were going to win the league. I felt that they would be inside the top 4, and I still think that they'll be there, don't you?
Pretty much. I mean, you got to, again, context is everything. The 2 games they've lost, both with 10 men, you know. I mean, if we remember the beginning of last season, I think Arsenal dropped points a few times after having players sent off. It doesn't mean you're less of a force. But yeah, I mean, they've got a couple of big weeks coming up. This game against Liverpool is huge for both teams, because if Chelsea were to lose, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, things aren't going well.
Yeah.
People don't remember the sendings off. They just look and go, we're not winning games, especially at home. So, yeah, it's a big couple of weeks for Chelsea, and ideally, he'd like all his players fit and healthy, but he hasn't quite got that at the moment. So, I mean, they've got a big squad, so he can't complain.
Do you think Maresca will get anywhere near hitting the heights that Mourinho did?
No.
At this club?
No.
No, I don't think so either. I'm unsure about him. I think he's.
You're unsure?
Yeah, I don't think he's the finished article, and I don't think Chelsea are going to be the finished article under him. I think he's done more right than he's done wrong. I think some of the things he did last season, some of the things that he said were a bit ridiculous. I think it's right to get balance in the conversation, because people don't want balance. They want feasts and they want famines, right? And he was talking down the Chelsea side, and then the ridiculousness of his observation at the end of the season that the media had talked down his team when he was the one that did it. So it was almost absurd. It was me, myself, and Irene. It's like, are you having a bipolar moment? You forgot what you said. Look, I mean, he's very definite in what he doesn't want, and he doesn't muck about, and I like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about reputations. He doesn't care about who or what goes on in terms of the players' perceptions. He's very definite in those views. But I don't see him fulfilling my projection that Chelsea would win the Premier League in the next 3 years, which is going to run out of time soon.
What about Sam, the Chelsea fan, Simon? Jim, can you ask Simon why he feels the need to call Chelsea, every time he speaks about them, manufactured?
Because they are.
Manufactured. Every single club had to buy the best players to win titles, no matter how far you go back.
But work it out.
We just did it in a condensed period.
Every single, and I called Man City the same thing. Every single club that has had heritage and legacy has been able to achieve it, a lot of it organically. They haven't had to have huge benefactors come in and say, "You were once this. This is what Chelsea looked like once, right? And now, once I finish with it, it'll look like this, something completely different." Man United and Liverpool haven't looked like something different because of ownership models. Because the clubs are themselves, they generate their own, they're organic. Chelsea and to some extent, significant extent, Manchester City have been created out of one person's desire to change the direction of travel. Jack Walker the same. If you don't like it, get over it, but it happens to be right.
Yeah, I was just about that. How did you know that was coming? I was going to throw at you all the way back to Jack Walker's Blackburn. Were they manufactured?
Well, because Blackburn were built. Jack decided he was the orchestrator of this race to the bottom, wasn't he? He was the person he was the started the race. He was the one with the baton that said, "Let's start and buy a Premier League. Let's see if we can buy a Premier League by creating what I want for my team." Ironically, he didn't spend that much money to do it, but notwithstanding that, it was still at the time.
Is it a negative thing to be manufactured?
Well, they don't like it because it offends their sensitivities, and quite frankly, I couldn't give a monkey's.
It doesn't. Manufacture doesn't matter if you get success because the players still enjoy it and the fans still enjoy it. So, just have.
They don't like it because what they think is they've got this deep-seated entitlement to be praised by everybody, and manufactured creates a sort of an environment that's aesthetically unappealing for them because it's not quite what they think of themselves. You are a manufactured football club. You were strutting peacocks down the King's Road that didn't win very much.
Yeah, but I think some fans maybe take it personally because they've been through the journey where they weren't anything and they are, and they're not manufactured.
I bet he wasn't sitting behind electric fences all those years ago. He's probably a part of the new generation of Chelsea fans.
Sam, the Chelsea fan, you've messaged us to say that you take exception to Simon saying your club's manufactured.
You are.
You heard him there. You are. Listen, Sam, give us a call if you want. The man is here. 03717 22 33 44. I think some fans find that it makes them feel inferior. It makes their club sound inferior.
Well, go over themselves.
Manufactured, and they're not. Liverpool maybe not. Manchester United maybe not.
I can't legislate for someone else's inferiority complex, can I?
It is 11:15. Simon is back and the mouth is working undoubtedly, even after that extensive dentistry. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Danny Murphy live in talkSPORT. morning, everybody. We are looking at some of the results in the Champions League, the Championship as well, from last night and what lies ahead this week. It is a massive week. Bayern Munich going well, are they not? Harry Kane going super well. They won 5-1 last night against Paphos. Kane again on the target. Bayern Munich, none too complimentary in some comments towards Newcastle United about the price tag, about the money they paid for the big fella up front, one Nick Voltemada. We'll get to that very shortly. In the meantime, I just want to dwell in the situation regarding the two Sheffield clubs, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. Regarding Sheffield United, Chris Wilder back in, not for a second time, but a third time in charge. Sheffield United lost at home to Southampton last night, 7 defeats in 8, bottom of the Championship. And a bit of a head loss for Chris at half-time. As he walked off, he kicked the ball, ended up in the stands, and it hit one of his own fans. Wilder immediately apologised. The referee, Adam Herzig, showed him a red. Was that a bit over the top? I've seen it a few times this morning, Danny. He was meaning nothing by it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And he said sorry straight away. But the referees, you know, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. If he's going by the rules, he's got to send him off. And if he doesn't, something similar happens next week and you got the whole thing. Where's the consistency? You can't, you know, they're not allowed to use common sense anymore. It's been taken away from them for years. So unfortunately, the officials have got no choice when they see something like that. They've got to give a red. Although I'm with you.
You're with me?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to...
Do they need to be such a stickler?
No, I don't like it, but it's
the rules.
It's been like that for a while now.
But you can't do right for doing wrong, as Danny says, because he's not only judging the situation at that time, he's judging the reaction to him by his peers if he doesn't take a decision. So you can believe me, if he didn't send him off, he'd be asked to be accountable for the people that he works for. So he's in this situation where common sense should prevail and referees should be able to be allowed to be subjective. But they're not allowed to be subjective because in another conversation, people like us would say, well, hang on a second, subjectivity doesn't work. So you've got to stick by the letter of the law.
Yeah.
Which means that there isn't any room for a human intervention or interpretation, which takes something away from the game. But that's what we've driven out of it. That's what pundits, that's what footballers, that's what managers have driven out of the game. And then they complain about it when it's not there anymore. Why can't you use your common sense? Because you don't allow people to use your common sense. Because when they do use your common sense, someone is offended by it. Someone takes exception to it because they're on the receiving end of the different end of the common sense perspective that they think they should be.
Although, knowing Chris Wilder a little bit from afar, if you like, and the integrity he normally holds himself to, he'll probably take it on the chin and say...
I would think so, yeah. I would think so.
It was a moment of madness. The manager should always be the one who has the control. He's the leader. You know, you can't be that ill-disciplined and show your emotion that much.
By the same token, I agree with you. But the same token, maybe there's a you know, a benefit in it because he will have shown some fire that he wants from his team. It's not the ideal scenario. I agree with you
I hear you
entirely that he should be able to be differentiating himself from what a player does and judging it from a higher standard. But also, you know, there might be he needs to breathe fire into this group of players because they're struggling.
And also, give it context, Jim. If you were sat in a crowd with your daughter and she's 7 years old and the ball hits her in the face, you know, and although you're
you're not going to be happy, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, come on.
I mean, listen, I get it. I suppose rules are the rules. Sheffield Wednesday players got the good news going into the game against Birmingham last night that they wouldn't be paid again on time this month. And nonetheless, they made a fist of it. They went into the game and they gave a decent account of themselves. Denied victory at Birmingham after a 99th minute Demaira Gray equaliser. But on this non-payment situation, it's not just the players and the staff, of course. It's everybody, top to bottom at the football club, struggling at the moment because payments aren't being made by the owner, Mr. Chansiri. Henrik Pedersen, the head coach, spoke about it post-match.
We have not spoken about it today at all. And the boys have, I think generally our boys have been fantastic when there has been difficult things. And some days have been very, very difficult. Then they have always delivered some good training. They have delivered some fantastic performance in the game. And today, again, it is a tough test with the circumstances we have to bring this performance. But it just shows the character we have in our squad, with how big heart our players play for our club. So we just have to be proud of this group.
I mean, he's right, Simon, in what he says, but it's this continuous cycle of negativity surrounding the football club off the field. It's just down to them to self-motivate when it comes to matches, isn't it?
They're professional footballers. You know, I absolutely, entirely agree with the principle of meeting your obligations. And that's what your responsibility is as an owner of a business, right? Sometimes conditions don't allow you to do it, and sometimes you're very challenged, but you should use your best endeavours at all times. But let's not get over ourselves about lionising professional footballers that are highly paid to do a job. They know they're secured creditors. They know they're going to get paid. So it's a matter of timing. So whilst I entirely agree that the principles of meeting your obligations are absolutely appropriate, let's not turn it into this hero status because they've gone out and kicked the football around for 90 minutes, because they should do it anyway. They're going to get paid their money.
I don't think anyone's taking it to that degree.
No, listen to what the fella just said. You know, that the adversity about to come through and this, that and the other. Come on. You're going to get paid. There are people in this world that are far worse off, that are paid far less for far more less rewarding jobs than you guys are. So do your job, and you know you're going to get paid, because ultimately you cannot not get paid. Of course, the overriding thing is it perfect? No. And can the EFL do much about it? No. The regulator will fix this problem, I suspect. The owner probably needs to be shucked out like a clam or like an oyster, because he doesn't want to move, and he doesn't seem to be finding any solutions to the particular problems, and he cannot allow the club to keep on getting smacked sanction-wise, because in the end it's going to diminish the football club's position in the pyramid, take it down divisions as a result of it, and that can be good for nobody.
But that's precisely what he is doing.
Can you just educate those people, because I'm not clued up as you on this, and also listeners might not be. Let's say he throws in the towel and the club,
well, he has,
even like just disappears. Who's paying the players?
They're secured creditors. So ultimately, if the only thing that matters, first of all, how many clubs have gone bust and out of existence? Not many in 150 years, right? So the reality of it is that they're secured creditors. The league can withhold some payments in terms of broadcast monies and redistribute it to secured creditors, because somehow or another football players have become secured creditors. No one else is, but they are. And so, with the best respect in the world, there's not an opportunity for them not to play somewhere else, is there? They can move to other clubs, be free agents. They'll be actually, if they're not getting paid, they could actually say, "I'm out of contract,"
some of them
and walk away.
Oh, some of them have done that.
Well, they are, then.
Haven't they? Josh Windass
couldn't
now at Wrexham.
the wonderful PFA step in?
Well, there you are.
But it's the fifth month in the past 7 when those affiliated to the club have not been paid on time. And yet we know the EFL can't do much, precious little about it.
They can't do much about the ownership.
Because they've no power to intervene or take control.
No, they can't do anything about the ownership because it's a private business. They can't just walk in and take somebody's ownership over. The regulator can, though. And the regulator will.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll do, necessarily.
So that's a good thing.
Well, it's a good thing in this instance. Careful what it looks like in other instances. But in this instance, of course, if you've got somebody that's an absentee landlord that's sitting there, ultimately, in the same way that the fellow at Reading was, everybody was happy when these guys are spending money like drunken sailors. When it comes on top and these guys don't want to do it anymore, can't do it anymore, then there's the other side of the argument. So be careful who you want owning your football clubs and which person you now cheer in the door as being the next foreign investor in your football club, because you must have the next opportunity.
It's an absolute lottery, though, Simon, for the fans, for the players. They don't know, has he got the dough to make this a successful era at this football club? Nobody knows that.
But that's exactly. So
Daiphon Chansiri has decided,
so what's your
right, I ain't paying people for the time being.
But isn't there a jeopardy in life, isn't there? Isn't there a jeopardy in football, full stop? Isn't there a jeopardy in being in a division you get relegated? Unless you want to eliminate it. One of the things, and people won't like me to say this, one of the things that has made sport so compelling is the jeopardy. And one of the jeopardies of football, whether you like it or you don't, is the financial precipice that it now walks.
I get that, but we're talking about the players, and you're right.
It doesn't help the fans.
The players have got a few quid, I'm quite sure. And I'm quite sure they're getting on with life.
We get in life the politicians that we deserve in societies. We get sometimes the football club owners that we deserve.
I understand what you're saying, but at that football club, and it's a giant of a football club, there are many people on the staff who will be toiling.
Absolutely.
We'll be listening to this show this morning. I read the other day, what was it? You've got to make do with $1,000 for the entire month.
But I'm not talking about them. That's inexcusable. I'm talking about the lionisation of professional footballers on 8, 9, 10, 15 grand a week.
But I'm talking about the other people.
Yeah, there's no argument.
And these are the people who are saying,
but these are
I need to be paid.
But these are the poor buggers that lose their jobs when the Premier League footballers get their teams relegated and bugger off to the next side. No one cares about them then, do they? Oh, hang on a second. These poor sods that have lost their jobs have done nothing to lose their jobs. But the footballers that actually created the outcome, they've sailed off into the sunset, got their next contract.
Listen, you've got a bit of intel on this. Can the regulator step in now?
Yeah, they have the power to do that. And I think they will do. I mean, my understanding of the situation is that there's no way, quote unquote, this will happen on someone's watch.
Okay, all right. We'll keep an eye on it. For those at Sheffield Wednesday still waiting for the paycheck, keep your heads up, keep your spirits up, and we'll see where it takes you. We're across it, trying to get Chansiri to speak to us, and we'll continue to do so. 11 o'clock.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range, helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 2 minutes past 11, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Liverpool's new signings are taking more time to settle than you'd expect. That from their former midfielder Danny Murphy on White and Jordan this morning after the defeat to Galatasaray in the Champions League. Murphy says early results have masked some poor performances.
Yeah, there looks a little bit of lethargy there, especially off the ball, defensively, a little bit wide open. Carragher was talking about being more like games of basketball. I see what he means. I think that's fair. Very unlike the composed Liverpool we saw under Slot last season, so he's got some work to do.
Alisson's injury means he'll miss the Chelsea game on Saturday. Ekitike also limped off in Istanbul. On Chelsea, Enzo Maresca insists they do not have a discipline problem. Joao Pedro's second yellow in the win over Benfica was Chelsea's third sending off in 4 games. Tonight, Arsenal host Olympiacos live on talkSPORT. Newcastle at Union Saint-Gilloise and Man City at Monaco are on talkSPORT 2 later. Now, Hammers United tell us they've got the biggest ever fan protest in the pipeline.
The plan is to get a minimum of 10,000 out. And then by the end of the season, I don't think Sullivan will still be there. But by the end of the season, 20,000.
That's Chair Paul Colborne speaking to the talkSPORT Daily podcast. He says the plans just need final police approval. In the WSL, Manchester City forward Mary Fowler signed a new contract. The Australia international is currently recovering from an ACL injury but has agreed a deal till 2027. And to Rugby League, where Wigan say their Super League playoff semi-final is now in doubt because Lee Leopards are unhappy with the number of tickets available to their fans. Clubs are required to offer visiting teams 10% of their allocation, something Wigan insists they have done.
talkSPORT News.
From today, all GP surgeries must offer all-day online appointment bookings, and a firm linked to Tory peer Michelle Mone must repay nearly £122 million for breaching a COVID contract. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, wherever and whenever suits you with our mobile tyre fitting service. Now that will have you driving away happy every time. Conditions apply.
In the north, cloudy and breezy, heavy rain in the east, gradually clearing with further rain expected in western Scotland. That'll be heavy tonight. Mostly dry elsewhere with sunny spells developing.
Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, Wednesday, October the 1st. It is Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We are live on talkSPORT, coming to you live, of course, on your TV as well, even on Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch us, we are there. There is Andy, who's a big fan of Simon's. Glad to see him back. Was worried about him when I heard he was getting this operation at the dentist. Andy, it was nothing. Believe me, it was nothing. He's back and he's looking good. Andy tells me he's going along to the lunch that you and I are going to be at on Friday, Chris Boyd's charity lunch.
In Glasgow.
In Glasgow. And you and I will do a Q&A up there. Your Scottish audience eagerly awaits your arrival.
Okay.
Right. Make it hot for him, guys. That's all I'm saying. Forget all this dentist nonsense. He's fit as a flea and he's gone in there fighting. Looking forward to it, though. You don't mind all that. I have to say, you surprised me immensely at the London Palladium the other night when you were on stage with Warnock. You lapped it up. A live audience, several thousand in the theatre. It was a great atmosphere.
It surprises you he lapped up being the centre of attention.
Well,
I wasn't the centre of attention. Neil Warnock was the centre of attention.
Neil Warnock
Why
was,
would that
but
surprise you?
I've got to say, Danny, he got one hell of an ovation when you come up. You got a great ovation.
But this comedian that they've got
in Glasgow.
Oh, I did something up in Cove Rangers a few years ago.
Oh, John Gagan.
And he is the funniest bloke I've ever heard. And he's a bag of nerves, isn't he? He's terrified before he goes on, so they all normally make him go on last and tell him how awful it's going to be, build him into a state of apoplexy, and then let him go.
Oh, he's
and he
magnificent.
is so funny.
Yeah, talk about irreverent.
That's
Absolutely.
That's a talent.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's wonderful, Danny. I'll tell you a few of his lines before we leave this building today, but we're looking forward to it. Going into this event on Friday, just before we fly up there, we're going up there tomorrow night. Do you now regret being so openly anti-Scottish for such a long period of time?
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest.
Not in the
There you
slightest. I'm
go.
not anti-Scottish at all.
A lot to get through between now and 1 o'clock. He's not anti-Scottish at all, unquote. I'm looking forward to it, and so are you, Simon, I'm quite sure. The Premier League tax, or the idiot tax, are they now one in the same thing for clubs in England? Simon, when you look at it, in recent days, Newcastle have been labelled idiots for paying £69 million to Stuttgart for the striker Nick Voltemade. Voltemade scored at the weekend against Arsenal, but Arsenal got 2 and won the game. Bayern Munich also had a big interest in Voltemade, but they dropped out of signing him, reportedly because the fee was too high. The Bayern board member Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, who I met at the Ballon d'Or last year, I've known him for years, but he told German media outlets, "I can only congratulate those in Stuttgart that they, and now I, use the inverted commas, found an idiot who would pay that kind of money, because we would certainly not have done that in Munich. We should not meet any demand to make someone happy, especially those financiers in Stuttgart." Uli Hoeneß at Bayern Munich said exactly the same thing. The Newcastle strategy was, quotes, nothing to do with football, like monopoly money these days. Max Eberl, Bayern's board member for sport, he questioned whether or not this was a strategic transfer or an act of desperation. They really are going for Newcastle in this one.
Just out of curiosity, what the bleeding hell's it got to do with them?
Well, they're deciding
how one
they
club,
were in for him.
How one club runs their business is really their business, and the influence that this is Middle Eastern money, when we know that the Middle Eastern money hasn't pushed the envelope in the way that we anticipated it would Newcastle. This is Liverpool money. This is Isak money.
Yes.
So was everyone turning around saying, "You bloody fools, you German league, you let Erling Haaland go for 55 million quid. This is the best centre-forward in the world," on the other side of the argument?
True, but it's a swipe at the Premier League as a whole, because the Premier League this summer spent more than all the other top European leagues combined.
Can we give it some context?
Oh, Dan.
Go ahead, Dan.
Munich, who spent 80 million on Lucas Hernandez. Louis Diaz, 75 million, who's nearly 30, 29. Right, nearly 70 million on Delict. They're hardly
absolutely
nearly 100 million on Kane, who is banging them in. Fair play, but in terms of sell-on value, business sense, they're not going to make a dime when Kane's finished. Paulina, they spent 50 million on, didn't play him. So their business model isn't exactly perfect.
All it really is the German league, the Spanish league, the Italian leagues getting together and taking a great big dump on the Premier League because they can't meet them or match them financially. That's the end of the discussion.
Yeah, but
is
is England's top flight, though, Simon, more susceptible than ever to having their pants pulled down in the market?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Of course they are.
And is this a very example of that? Is this a true example of it? Time will tell, I know.
Beauty's in the eye of the
125 million for Isak.
I wouldn't pay 100 million for anyone.
69 million for Voltemade.
I wouldn't pay 100 million for anyone.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? I mean, look, there is an argument.
I think it was 89 million for Anthony, wasn't it?
Sure, and we can make a list of players, and we can make a list of players. I'm sure that if we look the other way, we can look. I mean, what they should be doing is saying thank you for propping up their leagues. Thank you for filling the gaps in their leagues. And I don't know what Bayern Munich have got to do with anything, because really and truly, they're the only club in their league that's of any merit. What a wonderful league they've got. Well, what a wonderful competitive landscape they live amongst.
And also, they only go and buy the best.
One title winner amongst the last 13 years besides themselves.
You hate it when the Germans have a swipe at anything.
Well,
English.
I really don't. But
don't you? You had a German take your towel off the lounger before you could get to it.
I sold my mobile phone business to a German company, so bring them on, mate. So I'm all in that camp. But the fact of the matter is, I like Karl-Heinz Rummenigge when he was talking last summer about the idea. Did it escape the players' notice when they were talking about the amount of games that they were playing that they were taking all the bleeding money out of the room? So go forward, Carl. I'm in your camp. But when you start parodying people because their business model competes with yours and you don't like it, you can't keep up with it. The other European, there's a real agenda now against the Premier League. Look at it. Listen to Tevez last week. Look at the idea, the hypocrisy, and up to their necks in hypocrisy in terms of we'd set the pattern for transfer marketplaces. We're the ones that have been the biggest transfer fees. We're the ones that created a league that only patronised Barcelona and Real Madrid, really, and have been forced into a collective distribution. The Premier League's been built out of the model. It's an anti-English sentiment, an anti-Premier League sentiment, and it should be pushed back against.
Although they've all got it infamy.
Absolutely.
Although
right.
Rummenigge, as if he'd have delivered that in a more articulate, sophisticated way, there's some valid points.
Of course, it's an idiot tax.
We are being. We are paying.
Of course, it's an idiot tax. So you admit it.
Yeah, because
is it a Premier League tax or an idiot tax, as the Germans suggest?
Well,
are they one and the same thing?
But not. The thing about it is, to say it's an idiot tax, I understand the methodology behind that thinking, but they're not in a foot race with Bayern Munich. They're in a foot race with the other Premier League football clubs.
They're overpaying. Munich are overpaying.
They're all paying,
For all
overpaying.
their players.
They should all get together and sit there and turn around and say, we're not paying this money anymore, but they won't. And as long as you're having it your own way, as long as you're in the ascendancy with transactions, but I don't understand why they want to make this sort of observation about Newcastle. What the point is, it's not really about Newcastle. It's about the Premier League and the profligacy of the Premier League.
I think it probably came from the fact that they've bought a player from Germany who Rummenigge was probably asked about in terms of, because he's come from the German league and he's a centre forward, maybe they were asked about.
But you keep your own grace, don't you?
Yeah,
you keep
do.
your own counsel, because you never know where you're going to do business with these people.
Well, unlike you, Simon, who immediately had a swipe at the Germans, Eddie Howe was a bit more relaxed about it.
I always think with these types of things, it's irrelevant, really. The market forces dictate transfer fees, not necessarily any one club. We're very pleased to have Nick with us. I think he started very strongly in what's been a difficult period for him because he's thrust straight into action. No training time with us, really, of any note. And I think he's done really, really well. So we're really pleased to have him with us. And the transfer fee, for me, is absolutely irrelevant.
Do you like what you've seen so far regards Voltemade, Danny? Or have Newcastle been idiots here?
No, I think he's all right. I scored a couple of goals. He seems calm. His touch has been good. He plays the role well. He's obviously got to do more. But yeah, I think he's done all right. And I agree with Eddie. I mean, Eddie continually pleases me in terms of the way impresses and pleases in one.
Why are you pleased for him?
I'm not pleased for him. He said he pleases me.
Why does he please you?
Because he's exceptional in the fact that most managers tend to waffle a lot. And
that pleases you?
What, the fact that he speaks sense?
I'm just getting to the bottom of your pleasure.
Well, yeah, I like listening to articulate men.
Oh, well, you've come to the right place, man.
I don't know why the hell I'm on this show, but I like it.
You could argue that Robert Lewandowski is a fairly articulate fella. In the Premier League, they pay a lot. Before you achieve something, they pay a lot.
I agree with him.
True,
absolutely
isn't
right.
it? But is it borderline idiocy?
Well, no, because the reason clubs over the last 5 years have gone for a different type of, instead of somebody who's a finished article.
Yeah.
They tend to go for more potential now because they're thinking sell on. If we improve him and he does more, they think they can find these diamonds in the rough. And sometimes that happens. You know, Liverpool's the best example when they signed Coutinho for 10 and sold him for, I don't know what it was, 100 plus, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who bought that then? The Spanish. So did they pay an idiot tax then, did they? When they paid £150 million for Coutinho, and what did he do? Stunk the place out.
Actually, Danny, just before we leave it, Rummenigge, who said a few things, as well as saying that they found an idiot in that Newcastle wanted to pay 69 million for Voltemade. He also said that Florian Wirtz, not the right move, should have come to Bayern Munich. He felt sorry for him.
Well, it doesn't feel like an objective point of view.
No, it doesn't really, does it?
No.
Not really.
I like this new Danny Murphy this morning. Do you know, Simon?
Well, what's new?
Into who's articulate, who's not, objectivity, and what's not objective.
Well, I think if you can deliver things in a more...
What pleases him or what doesn't?
What pleases him? Worryingly, who pleases him and who doesn't?
If people go around making silly gesture slanders like Rummenigge...
It's an uncomfortable thing, isn't it?
You like sensationalism, I don't.
That's a good point, Dan.
For the 1 millionth time, Danny, don't exaggerate. We're live on talkSPORT. It is Wednesday morning, Wednesday, October the 1st. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy live in talkSPORT. I remember the show. I think Simon had just returned from some dental work that day as well. It was back in 2023, and Howard Webb, the head of the refs, said, "We want to improve transparency."
We fully understand this is a bold move, and we fully understand that once you draw that curtain back and open that box, it's open, and we have to show everything.
Yeah.
And we actually want people to understand. On the occasions we get it wrong, and it's less than people would think, but when we do, I'd rather people understand the rationale for why that happened. So that people aren't worried about bias or the integrity of our officials is really high. They're professional, but they make errors sometimes, like everybody else in the game. And showing people why, I think, helps people understand. Or even if you don't agree with the final decision in this world of football, this subjective world of football, at least understanding the rationale.
So, to be fair to them, transparency they have brought, and it's fairly undeniable. The PGMO, there's no L now, I believe. The PGMO have since engaged in the same with the Mic'd Up programme. Howard Webb's on that with Michael Owen. And they've even now begun hosting roadshows up and down the country with officials and fans of clubs across the Premier League. Last week, they reportedly visited Burnley and provided a simulation of how VAR operates on match days, along with replays of real-life examples. Fans were also invited to ask questions in a session, and that was aimed at increasing transparency and to increase confidence in the system. So, Simon, Danny, first off, can we argue that they haven't given transparency and Howard has been true to his word?
Transparency has definitely improved. That doesn't mean that occasionally incompetency kicks in and we debate bad decisions, but the transparency is definitely better. Even things like the refs now explaining decisions on the pitch, they're doing what they can. Unfortunately, as we've talked about many, many times, the argument of whether VAR stays or goes is gone. It's here. We know that. I've had to accept that. That's just the way it is. There are always going to be decisions that people disagree on, and there's going to be times when they get it badly wrong, right? I.e. the Fulham one at Chelsea the other week where they come out and apologised. But they're doing what they can. The bar is set higher now. The referees are being allowed to make more decisions for themselves without being told to intervene, which is better. The numbers tell you that. So where do we go?
What we can do. And yet,
what can we do?
So many people still take to social media. Fans, of course, lead the way on that, saying, this isn't right, that's not right, I'm not having that, I'm not having this.
It's the way of the world, isn't it?
It's not just fans, though, because this comes following a weekend of complaints over certain decisions, and I'm talking, of course, about Newcastle-Arsenal. Gabriel, that moment against Newcastle, the Gyökeres penalty, and Josh King's booking for a dive against Aston Villa. What? And it's not just fans going on social media, Danny. Mark Clattenburg on Twitter. Another match, this was a Newcastle-Arsenal game, another match where we're discussing the standards of refereeing in the Premier League. Time for Webb to accept he has failed.
Well, hold on. That's coming from a Geordie talking about a Newcastle game. I'm sorry, I don't see a decision that he got wrong in that game.
Former referee.
I thought the referee...
Former referee.
I actually thought the referee reffed that game very well. I thought he let it play. I thought they got all the big decisions right, and lots of people I know agree with me. There are some who don't.
I think some of the decisions that Clattenburg does on Gladiators is appalling.
That's true.
But I think there's nothing objective about his observations there. I think his voyage into into Nottingham Forest's boardroom was of no help to man nor beast. And I think that the characterisation of VAR is the problem and has always been the problem. And it's been allowed to get away. It's like the old Mark Twain saying, isn't it? Elias halfway around the world before the trooper even got his boots on.
Spit it out.
Yeah. There is the dentist involvement. But my point is that if you started the premise of VAR was it's going to be 100% right and it's going to be perfect every single time, there's never going to be any errors, you're judging it by that standard and you've now seeded it in people's minds. It's like suggesting that someone does something once and forever they're going to do it that way going forward.
Right.
So I think that VAR, besides the spontaneity argument that Danny has merit making arguments,
I've left it.
If there was no issues with spontaneity, and if the original premise should have been, which was referees calling for VAR when they needed it, why would anyone have an objection to it? Why would anyone have an objection to something that supposedly gets things right?
Well, I think the frustration comes when VAR intervenes and people feel like they still get the decision wrong. I think that's obviously where a lot of contention comes. unfortunately, you are going to get situations where there's deep split opinion and people being on the other side of the fence. It's just you can't ever change that.
Yeah.
Look, we want a game that's flowing, that's good on the eye, and we don't want the game stop-start all the time. If you want to watch Newcastle Arsenal back again and watch the referee try his best to let a game go with full-on tackles, with people trying to cheat and dive around and get free kicks, he let that game flow. And the big decisions they got right, irrelevant of what people... You're going to bring up somebody talking about the penalty. I think they got that spot on.
What Howard is doing is right, though. I mean, it's the least the game can do. It was poor, and I was against it initially, but I cut the error of my ways. That the only people inside a football stadium didn't really know what was going on.
The fans.
Well, the fans. You can't have that. You can't have live audiences, which is where the real value is in sport, being diminished by the experience of a technological advancement, which actually disadvantages the very people that are paying to watch it inside a stadium. So they had to change that, and it's right that Howard takes it, because we're in the entertainment business, and if you're going to referee in a certain way, then you need to make sure that the refereeing is a value added. So it's entirely appropriate that you educate the audience. It's entirely appropriate that you take away the opaqueness of an organisation and let people have a good look inside to a point. Because there's always going to be errors. And it's when you allow the thought process to seed in people's mentality that errors are never going to be made, that the problem starts to become bigger than it really is.
Exactly. There ain't no conspiracy. There's no conspiracy amongst referees, for God's sake, and who they may or may not support.
I think the match
transparency, Danny, can lead to more scrutiny, can't it? So it can end up being a bit of a negative.
Yeah, well, I hear that. I think if you depends how far it goes, the transparency. You know, listening to every decision get made by the VAR and the referee.
Transparency leads to more entitlement. What it leads to is that I've seen that, now I want to see some more. 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 And whatever you show somebody, it'll never be enough. So the challenge is, do you cut it off at the knees and show nobody anything, which I don't think you can do in this day and age, or do you allow people inside the Pandora's box and have a good look around?
I think the balance is okay. They release certain footage, don't they, of the VAR and referees' conversations to help the public know on certain decisions, but you don't hear everything of it 90 minutes.
Right.
Who would want to hear that anyway? I'm allowed to do that on commentary sometimes, and it's not particularly enthralling.
Really? We enjoy your commentary, sir.
I'm on about the ref talking to VAR.
You're asking for rational thought processes on irrational moments. People are hugely invested in sport, with emotion being the absolute driver, and you're asking for a rational approach to it. And you're not going to get it.
No, exactly.
What I do expect better from is sections of the media and punditry that can't climb down from their position now because they've been so entrenched in it. They're the ones that have created the demand for technology by criticising refereeing, not being prepared to accept it. Now they've got the solution to it. The solution isn't perfect because it's got to go through several guises to get to the perfect incarnation, yet they've vilified it at every turn. Those are the guys that should be held accountable because they've got no solution besides bitching and whining about mistakes that are being made.
Yeah.
Referees, I'm not good enough. Managers going mad about it. Pundits doing the same thing. Okay, the solution is technology. Right, let's change our attack and let's make it the technology that's the devil in the room now.
Yeah. Gyökeres at the weekend, penalty or no penalty?
No penalty.
No penalty for me.
Yeah, I mean...
I think if you give a penalty for a...
That's a bias against Arsenal, by the way.
No,
I'm just saying.
I was on here sticking up for Arsenal when Arteta was getting it 2 weeks ago. It's nothing to do with the team. I think if any defender or goalkeeper gets the ball in the box, it's not a penalty.
Not a penalty. Not a penalty, Danny. Arsenal. It wasn't Liverpool involved in this.
Well, for those same fans angry or shouting about the fact Gabriel punched Voltemada or slapped him, whatever it was, when it just...
I know.
And got away with it.
Anyway.
Good point, Dan. Well made.
Stick to being transparent, Howard. We're with you. 11:30.
says he's happy with Liverpool's slimmer squad.
If you have 25, it's very hard to manage your squad. But as a result of that, with Hugo, Alex, Connor, McAllister not having the preseason as a player should have, that also results in the fact that I cannot play them every time.
Enzo Maresca enjoyed Chelsea's ugly win to Benfica, but do they have a discipline problem? João Pedro's second yellow for a high foot is Chelsea's third sending off in 4 games. Here's Maresca.
Sanchez is not for bad action, it's just because he wants to defend the goal. Chalobah is because he wants to defend the goal. And tonight, I think the second yellow card, Joao not even touch the other player, but the dynamic of the action is dangerous one.
Meanwhile, Thomas Frank admits Bodo Glimt were the better side for over an hour before Spurs battled back to 2-2.
We kept doing the right thing, we kept moving the ball, kept producing situations from the side, and showed great character to come back into the game, which I'm very, very pleased with.
In the Championship, Sheffield United boss Chris Wilder was sent off for booting a ball into one of his own fans as they lost at home to Southampton. Wilder immediately made sure the guy was OK. Assistant Alan Nill said the game was too big for referee Adam Herkzig.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
It's that time. We're joined by Sean Martin from BetMGM. We're going to look at some of the sporting events and the odds round and about them. Sean, good morning to you. Let's look back at the Champions League games from last night. What are you thinking?
Morning, lads. Yeah, 1 win, 1 draw and 1 defeat for the English sides last night, leaving Matt Gibson's treble in tatters, Jim. 16-1 it was for Galatasaray to beat Liverpool 1-0. Ultimately, it's not actually led to any change in the outright betting, funnily enough. Liverpool still 6-1 joint favourites to win it all, so the market suggests that loss last night really just a blip and that they'll figure it out the longer the season goes on. Chelsea, meanwhile, still at 13s and Tottenham still at 30-1 with some of the other top dogs playing tonight, of course.
Indeed. And tonight, Union Saint-Gilloise, is that how we pronounce them, the Belgians?
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Danny. Against Newcastle, that's live in talkSPORT 2. Arsenal Olympiacos, live in talkSPORT. Monaco Manchester City, live in talkSPORT 2. And we also can throw in there Barcelona versus PSG. Wow. But Sean, where do you want to start?
Yeah, we'll start with the first one. First up, 5:45 kickoff is Newcastle away to Belgian side. Union SG, I'm going by.
Yes.
That's the safest way for me to
Good
say
idea.
The Magpies, odds-on favourites at 10-11, USG 14-5 and 27-10 the draw. But as a Jamestown/Tony Bloom club, USG always a threat. They're really well run, started the season like a house on fire, but they're also playing their European games at Anderlecht Stadium as well, so there's that to consider, Jim. In the 8 o'clock kickoffs, Arsenal at home to Olympiacos, 13th time these two have met and not one has ended in a draw. It's 13-2 for that to happen tonight. Arsenal heavy 2-13 favourites and Olympiacos fully 16-1 outsiders, despite the fact that of those previous 12 games, they've been split 6 wins apiece, and Olympiacos have actually won the last 3 in London as well. Rounding off the English sides in action, Man City awaited Monaco again, odds on favourites at 2-5, 4-1 the draw, and Monaco 11-2. We know City's attacking capabilities already, but also worth noting is that Monaco have scored 3 or more in all 3 of their home games so far this season. All English sides to win is just over 2-1, but both teams to score in all 3 of those games is 24-5, so just under 5-1. And you're right, it would be remiss of me not to mention also arguably the game in the round tonight, Barcelona versus PSG. The final most folk outside of me and Simon, who backed Inter, of course, thought would happen last season. Between them, these clubs have got 5 of the top 6 from the Ballon d'Or, 10 of the top 15 as well, actually, from the Ballon d'Or. Few injuries apiece, but nonetheless, both teams have scored in 13 of the last 15. And if you add that game onto the both teams to score treble I just mentioned there, that moves the odds up to 8-1 on it, lads.
Okay, I can't pick you a winner, Barcelona PSG, but Simon, I don't know about you, I go Newcastle to win in Belgium, Arsenal to beat Olympiacos, and Manchester City to win in Monaco. I go all 3 English clubs to win.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. Dan, are you on board with that?
Yeah.
You're thinking? And Barcelona PSG, Dan?
Oh.
Sean's saying that there are a few injuries, and there are.
There are for PSG, especially, yeah, so it's probably not going to be a fair indicator.
Yeah. Celebrating the Ryder Cup win. What are you thinking this Wednesday morning now the dust has settled?
Yeah, well, Danny, first time you've been on since, so I'm wondering what you made of that on Sunday, where you watched it, etc. But first of all, Simon.
What?
I heard your Bob McIntyre blasphemy.
Oh, no.
Shut up. He did miss a putt.
Shocking. He missed that putt. He's half a point, made sure the Americans couldn't use that Hovland injury excuse. That's enough for me. Even you can't sniff at that, surely. But yeah, Danny, thoughts on Sunday? Did you think the Americans that you and Charlie fancy so strongly might actually have pulled it off in the end?
I had a panic up, I have to say. I was getting on the edge of my sofa, watching it, thinking, where are we going to get these points from? But they came through. The whole 3 days was amazing. I mean, okay, little bit of contention around the American fans, and understand that was out of
a little bit.
Well, yeah, but I'd rather focus on the golf. I mean, probably, although Fleetwood got the most points, I mean, what a player he is. I have to give Justin Rose a mention. His putting under pressure, for anyone that's ever played golf, even a club championship or a little competition.
Yeah.
This is high-level pressure, and he's holding putts. Unbelievable.
Was it for that boy on the 18th hole who holed out in the end? And I mean, Justin Rose came on like a steam train, put him under pressure on the 18th hole.
I know.
And the kid
Cam Young,
started it, didn't they? Yeah.
Oh, was it Thomas? Yeah. Cam Young, I think it was. Cam Young, yeah. No, he was great as well. I think he got 3.5 points for America. But Justin Rose, who's putting statistically over the 3 days, was the best. And that, what is he, 46? Just shows you us old boys can still produce.
I think, Sean, some of the European team back in action tomorrow.
They are. I was actually, fun enough, you mentioned Justin Rose, Danny. We were discussing in that brains trust that we spoke about last week. We were discussing whether he's actually just too good to be considered for the captaincy, because he probably wouldn't be wanting to be a playing captain, you wouldn't think. But on that note, 4-5 for a Europe win at Adare Marin in 2027 already. I think it's fair enough. But yeah, absolutely glued to the whole night on Sunday. 4 of the European team are back teeing it up this week, despite the £230,000 celebration drinks that they enjoyed. It's the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship up here in Scotland. It's held across 3 courses, so a pretty quirky event. 2 courses in Fife, the old course at St Andrews, and Kingsbarns plus 1 up in Angus at
Well, let me give your punters a bit of a tip. Don't bet on any of those 4.
Quite a few bigger names there, including the Pro-Am, which is quite a big event at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. But yeah, of the European team that Danny's telling you all not to back, Tyrrell Hatton, defending champion and 3-time winner, he's 8-1. Tommy Fleetwood, 6-1 favourite. Matt Fitzpatrick, 15-2.
Oh,
and the man himself, Simon's favourite, Big Bob McIntyre, 16-1.
Come on,
looking
Bob.
to become the first Scot since Monty way back in 2005 to win it. Given those celebrations, Danny, I think I'm inclined to agree. Maybe look outside the triumphant European quartet there.
It's not even the celebrations. They've been 2 or 3 weeks on American time as well.
Yeah.
So they'll be not just hungover, they'll be knackered.
Yeah, good player welfare to think of, haven't we? Sean, thank you very much indeed. Remember, visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Danny, you're coming in for it a little bit regarding Newcastle Arsenal, the Gyökeres penalty. Message from Nathan. Good morning, Nathan. Danny, regarding the Gyökeres penalty incident. Gyökeres got the ball first, then Pope took him out. If it happened outside the box, whether he won the ball or not, but goes through the player, it's a foul. Would you say that if it was a Liverpool player? Asks Nathan.
I would 100% say the same, whoever was playing, because he gets the ball and then Yes, he catches the man after, but it's never a penalty. It would never have been a penalty a few years ago. When you get the ball in the box, unless you get tackled from behind, that's probably the only exception. If you get the ball, irrelevant of whether it's kicked onto him, he got the ball first before he got Gyökeres.
One totally impartial listener
Martin
by the name of Martin Keown. VAR should not have intervened at the weekend. Penalty for Arsenal.
That might be a fair argument.
Danny's wearing his Liverpool goggles.
No, if we're talking about a really high bar, which is what they are trying to do and doing reasonably well, if they are talking about high bar, that's got some validity to let it go. But he obviously felt it was really, really obviously a mistake. Now that's the VAR can only explain that, but I take that point. If we want a high bar, things like that maybe should be left to on-field decisions.
I mean, Howard Webb backs up the decision-making process at the weekend, believing it was the right decision to overturn the penalty.
I think so.
The other side of it, when you look at it, is it not true that the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, only touches the ball because Gyökeres has touched it onto him? Well,
would he have got the ball if Gyökeres hadn't touched it, is what you're saying? We don't know, do we?
I mean, should the slight contact on the ball from Pope negate what was the coming together between goalkeeper and striker? Also, you look at Pope's reaction. He accepts it's a penalty.
Well, winning the ball should always come first. That should be the priority of a referee's decision. Does somebody win the ball fairly and cleanly? He got the ball before he touched the man. That's my interpretation of it. In terms of Pope's reaction...
He got the ball because he get kicked onto it.
What you're saying about the reaction is ridiculous, because then you're saying, well, if somebody doesn't look guilty, is that fair? Or if he looks guilty? Which somebody's facial expression determines the referee's decision.
I had wind.
Exactly.
Jared Gillett, the referee, goes to the screen.
He had a good game.
But the VAR, do you not concede, effectively changed his mind at the screen?
Well, that's if a referee changes decision, then VAR always changes their mind, yeah. You mean he didn't stick with his decision? Of course.
I mean, we can. Yeah, Luke's got it through there. It's on mic'd up. Let's hear the conversation over at the screen.
Do you want me a better angle to see that he touches the ball?
I will do. I'll show you a better angle.
Do you want the SSM from the other side?
Yeah,
Okay.
super slow. Super slow-mo coming in now. Gets a touch on the ball there. And then just plants his foot in a normal action.
I don't know if the goalkeeper actually plays the ball. The attacker plays the ball.
The attacker plays the ball, and the goalkeeper plays the ball then with his right foot there.
Just play it at full speed, please. Play it at full speed.
Any contact after that is normal contact because the goalkeeper just plants his foot. Play it at normal speed for you. Yeah.
So I'm seeing the goalkeeper get a toe to the ball first prior to making contact.
Agree.
What's the process? So after review, the goalkeeper plays the ball. There's no foul. Final decision, we drop ball.
Confirmed.
See, he got his mind changed for him by VAR.
No, the VAR was pointing out the process of each frame of the video, and then he decided to agree.
He decided to agree.
Well, is that not what their job is? To have a conversation, to come to the right conclusion?
I mean, so this is an instance, re-refereeing, where we're told that they're not supposed to do that.
Unless they feel...
This is a case of re-refereeing an incident.
Unless they feel it was clear and obvious, and he obviously did, because you could hear him that he felt it was clearly a mistake to give the pen. So he intervened.
Okay, not many are agreeing with you in this, Danny.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, does it? Whether they agree or not. The officials came to a decision that I think's right.
Not least Martin Keown.
Well, any non-Arsenal people.
Anyway, Arsenal won the game.
Any of those Arsenal people talking about Gabriel getting away with a red card?
Oh, I know.
I didn't think they would be.
All right. It is Wednesday morning. Still talking about that match at St James's Park, are we not? Let's move on from it. It's 11:45 this Wednesday morning. Jim White, the beleaguered but highly articulate Danny Murphy and Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. Going to have a change of sport. We're going to look at boxing because throughout this year so far, we've had some major fights in various parts of the globe. Of course, Vegas, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, here in London and elsewhere. Another big one coming up, this time at London's O2 Arena. On the 25th of this month, so it's fast approaching, the unbeaten British heavyweight Fabio Wardley faces former world champion Joseph Parker, and we look forward to it immensely. I'm delighted to say Fabio Wardley joins us live on the show this morning. Fabio, good morning.
Good morning, boys. How are we doing?
Good morning.
We are doing very well. You were in this very studio, were you not, with Joseph just the other day, and you were telling us, okay, I know he's the experienced one, so he's many people's favourite going into this. Do you still think that as this fight gets ever closer, Fabio?
Yeah, look, as the fight gets closer, it's becoming more and more evident that people are tipping their hat for Joseph, and that's where they're putting their cards with him. But that's no bother with me. That leaves all the pressure on his shoulders. Ultimately, I know what I can do. I know the danger I present. So, look, coming up to the night of the 25th, it's just an opportunity for me to show off why I'm unbeaten and why I'm the next one up.
Do you prefer that, going in as the underdog?
It doesn't matter to me either way. It's not going to change things, either if everyone's betting on me to win or if everyone's betting on me to lose. I'm still training just as hard, taking the opponent just as serious and putting all the work in. So I don't pay no attention to it. It's just a good little headline.
You're looking forward to it, Sam?
Very much, very much. I'm really excited for this fight. I mean, I spoke to Frank the other day. I'm very keen to go to it. I'm going to go to it. It's October the 25th. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a proper fight. I think Fabio's right. He shouldn't be listening to any of the background noise because he knows what he can and can't do. The consensus is with Joe Parker. I sat yesterday in the studio with Johnny Nelson and with Paul Smith, who lean towards Joe Parker, but everyone knows that Fabio has an equaliser. Everyone knows that if he lands on Joe Parker, and we've seen Joe Parker be stopped before by Joe Joyce, and Joe Parker will talk about the fact that he wasn't fit or was unwell for that particular fight, but I think Fabio hits harder than Joe Joyce, which is a statement in and of itself. And if he can land and learn the lessons, because there are some lessons that he'll have to have taken from the Justice Hooney fight, because ultimately there's another Antipodean in front of him who's a skilled operator, who's operated at world level. Fabio keeps on going up to each level and keeps on disproving people. So there's no reason why he can't do it, but it is a big ask, and he knows it, don't you? Don't you?
Yeah, look, I know it's I know it's not. This is not now one of those kind of British level fights, even just like European level one. I very much picked. I had the conversation with Frank to want to be at the top of the division and pick out the top names. And look, I couldn't get my hands on Usyk. That wasn't an opportunity. So look, Joseph Parker is the next best man in the division. He is number 2, number 3, maybe depending on how you want to put things, but he is right up there. So there's no other bigger claim to stake really by taking that scalp.
When I mean, you'll imagine winning this fight, and I know you won't look past it, Fabio, because you're too bright to do so anyway. But when you win this fight, where does it transport you? Where are you going next? Do you think that automatically you're next cab off the rank for a world title shot if the belts get scattered, or if Usyk's picking up the opportunity?
Yeah, 100%. I am. That's where I think I'm going, and to be honest, that's where the belts lay, because the WBO is next for their mandatory. So whether or not Usyk holds on to them all, or if he doesn't, then obviously I get automatically elevated, and I'll get a world title fight, whatever. I'll be defending the world title without actually having to fight for it initially. But either way, I'll be in a world title fight. So
well, that was going to be my question.
Onto that.
Will you look for a fight that wins you a title, or will you look to get paid somewhere? I know you want to get both, right? But will you look at, there's a lot of people talking about Fury, a lot of people talking about Joshua. Atoma comes up in conversations. Will you look for a fight that steers you to a world title, or will you look to get paid somewhere else by a stylish fight?
I'll be 100% looking for a world title. 100% looking for a world title. I've not worked this hard, not progressed myself, not made the right maneuvers, picked the right fights at the right time, positioned myself well to be right on the edge for a world title, and then not to reach out and grab it. No.
Good lad.
Fabio, give us an insight. We're 3 weeks away from the fight, more or less, and you're in camp. Are you at a peak moment in this camp? What is the discipline right now when you're in camp at this stage?
Yeah, we're gearing up. We're well on the way. Things are on the mark. We're hitting everything nicely. This is a real nice stride of camp. We're into the thick of it now. I've been at it for 10, 11 weeks or so. So My body's in a great place, fitness is in a great place, but we're now really just fine-tuning everything, really sharpening the swords, and just at the edge of hitting my peak. Obviously, don't want to peak too early. Still got a good few weeks to go, so we're just fine-tuning at this stage.
You know, when you were in here with Joseph Parker the other day, many people remarked on it, and it was terrific to witness it. The mutual respect you had, the two of you, was something to behold. But that goes out the window, does it, on the 25th of October? When do you start seriously disliking Joseph?
Yeah, look, you took the words right out of my mouth. I've got a lot of respect for him, but ultimately there is a job that needs to be done, and all of that will go out the window the second I hear that first bell on the 25th of October. So with me, you know what you get. You know you get entertainment, you know you get drama, and ultimately with what's on the line, what's at stake, I'm going to put it all out there for everyone to see, all on show. It's going to be an occasion. It's going to be memorable.
Can I ask you, Fabio, what lessons you took from the Justice Hooney fight?
There's multiple. Maybe not too many I want to spill and share online for everyone to research. But there's a lot of there's very obvious ones to take from that, and some not so obvious, some subtle ones really that me and the team have paid some close attention to of adjustments we need to make. And it's not always to do with the fight itself on the night. There's preparations to adjust and the way we go about things and leading up to the fight as well. But ultimately, still coming through with the win, that fight did me a huge favor in the sense of being able to reevaluate, relook at myself. Because again, like I said, I think I said in the studio with you guys that if I'd have plain sailed through that fight and got everything perfectly, I'd be going into this fight with Joseph Parker even less experienced because I'd have less accountability, less to look at myself and go, actually, hang on, we need to adjust X, Y, Z and change these things. So in a sense, it is a blessing in disguise. And ultimately, I know I'm 20 fights in and stuff, but I am still very much learning in the job.
Is this psychologically an easier fight for you, Fabio, because you're not going into Portman Road? I know you wanted to fight at Portman Road. I know it meant a lot for you to fight in front of the fans, but you were carrying the expectation. You were going into that fight for one of the first times as potentially the favourite on paper to win the fight. At the same time, as with a huge expectation. Is this psychologically a different dynamic for you going into the O2? You're going to sell it out. It's going to be a great fight. We're all looking forward to it. Does it carry a different weight for you?
Yeah, definitely. Look, obviously headlining a show, headlining a stadium show and then in your own town, those two things have a weight of themselves.
Yeah.
Going into a massive fight at the O2, an arena I'm very familiar with, somewhere I've boxed out a lot, does take a lot of the pressure in a sense, I guess, if you want to call it that. It just takes a lot of weight off your shoulders in the sense that this show is big and amongst itself. All you need to do is put my and Joe's name together, stick us in the ring and let the fireworks go off. So there's not too much else that needs to be done.
Fabio, can I just ask him a quick one, more importantly, about his Ipswich team? Are you a little bit surprised that they've struggled start of the season?
Yeah, look, it's not been the perfect start that we wanted. What game like as well? Things aren't clicking perfectly. I know how everyone would want them to, but obviously there has been a big shift, a big swap up, lots of players in, lots of players out. So there is some time for that gelling to still happen and still come together. And we're seeing it in spaces, we're seeing it in glimpses. It just needs to become more kind of
consistent,
more wholesome, more all together. Yeah, they need to find each other and figure each other out a bit. But it's going to take time. But everyone, me, the club, the fans, everyone's got huge faith in the team, the players, McKenna as well, obviously, to bring everyone together because we know what you can do.
Big one this weekend, Fabio. I fancy Norwich.
Yeah. Yeah, massive one this weekend. Well and truly looking forward to it.
Okay, mate. Terrific. Fabio, you're a gem. Thanks for joining us live, mate.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
What a good lad. Think he wins it?
I think it's a tough ask, but given the fact that what I've said about him, first of all, I like them both, so it's very difficult to split the idea of who you want to win.
Forget who you like. Who are you tipping?
I think I tipped it in front of Fabio. I tipped Joe Parker.
Yeah,
I think Fabio.
But if Fabio can land, then it'll be a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing for sure with him when you watch the fight. I mean, I know not as much as Simon on box, but when I've seen him fight, he's not going to hold back.
No. He'll let his hands
You're gonna get your money's
worth.
You
bet.
But Joe Parker is a very sophisticated and talented fighter.
Yeah. Or blinking, you'll miss something. That's for sure. We're at 12 noon.
good afternoon. Arne Slot's got some work to do with Liverpool looking lethargic and too wide open in defence. That's the opinion of Danny Murphy. He's told White and Jordan the talented Wirtz is only struggling because the team's not firing, and he's clearly a 10.
But Wirtz was brought in to take up that role because he's more creative than Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai's numbers of goals and
Are you
assists.
seeing that creativity?
I'm seeing glimpses of it, yeah.
He's yet to score, and he hasn't contributed to a goal since his assist in the community.
Yeah, but he's had moments where you see it.
Liverpool go to Chelsea on Saturday without the injured Alisson. Slot's waiting on Ekitike, who also limped off in the loss at Galatasaray. Tonight, Max Dowman could make history live on talkSPORT if he features for Arsenal against Olympiacos. He'll become the Champions League's youngest ever player. Meanwhile, ahead of Barcelona versus PSG, Ronald de Boer's told talkSPORT Lamine Yamal's numbers mean we should be talking about him in the same breath as Johan Cruyff. Now, Hammers United are planning the biggest march in English football history. That's in protest over how West Ham's being run. Chair Paul Colburn expects a minimum of 10,000.
I can't say too much because we've met the police. They're very happy with the arrangements, especially as whenever we protested before, it's gone off very well. But it's got to be signed off yet by the top honcho.
You can hear the full interview on the talkSPORT Daily podcast. And in Rugby League, Wigan Warriors say Lee Leopards are threatening not to play their Super League playoff semi-final on Friday. Warriors claim Leopards owner Derek Beaumont's not happy with his club's ticket allocation. Wigan insist they've offered them the mandatory 10%.
talkSPORT News.
The Health Secretary warns GPs refusing online bookings risk making the NHS a museum, and a firm tied to Tory peer Michelle Mone must repay almost £122 million for breaking a COVID PPE deal. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. At QuickFit, we're all about keeping you safe on the road. With our comprehensive motor insurance, we're here for every journey. Search QuickFit Motor Insurance to find out more.
In the north, cloudy and breezy, heavy rain in the east, gradually clearing with further rain expected in western Scotland, mostly dry elsewhere with sunny spells.
Good afternoon, everybody. 5 minutes past 12 noon. It is now officially Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday, October the 1st. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT. A lot to get through in the final part. We heard from Fabio Wardley building up to this showdown fight at the O2 later this month against Joseph Parker. I think we're going to be off to Nigeria later on in this final part of the show today, fingers crossed. And with a bit of luck, we might well be in touch with one Moses Itoma. He is set to join us on the show. Mr. Jordan's getting through the show, even having extensive dental work, but you're sounding good. Are you feeling good? That's the main thing.
Not particularly.
Thank you for that. We were talking about Liverpool going to Istanbul and losing by a single goal to nil last night in the Champions League. But it's all not doom and gloom, according to Danny. The good times will nonetheless come along for Liverpool this season, says Danny. We all remember this time, do we not? I'll certainly never forget it. I was sitting in this very studio, January 2024, and we heard, never. Jurgen Klopp is leaving?
I will leave the club at the end of the season. I can understand that it's a shock for a lot of people in this moment when you hear it the first time, and but obviously I can explain it, or at least try to explain it, and I love absolutely everything about this club. I love everything about the city. I love everything about our supporters. I love the team. I love the staff. I love everything. That I still take this decision probably will, or shows you that I'm convinced it's the one I have to take. It is that I'm, how can I say, that I'm running out of energy. I have no problem now, obviously. I think I know it already for longer, that I will have to announce that at one point, but I'm absolutely fine now. But I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
I, for one, will never forget that, Danny. And the reaction right here in this studio, and the reaction of the Liverpool fans. Hundreds upon hundreds called in. It was. What do you remember? Where were you when you first heard it?
Can't remember. I got a feeling we were here. Well, I don't know. Don't know what day did it, but
were you gobsmacked like everybody else?
Yeah, because they were on the periphery of doing something historical that season. Maybe he thought that they would, and that would be a good way to go out. Who knows? But I think fair play to him. You know, if that's what he was feeling, and it would be easy to hang on longer for his own ego, and he didn't.
The boys are telling me we tried to get your reaction. You were in the golf course.
Ah, okay. There you go.
Surprise.
Well,
surprise.
I'm either in here or at golf.
There you go. Well, the reaction was incredible. I will never forget it. The listening figures were through the roof. Klopp leaving Liverpool. Well, the reason we bring that to you is because Jurgen Klopp has been speaking. Of course, we now know that he left Liverpool last summer. 9-year spell came to an end. In January, he began working as global head of soccer at Red Bull. But now he's decided to have a chat with The Athletic. And he's claimed that he doesn't want to coach again, insisting he misses nothing about management. He says, I don't know when Liverpool games started. I was just out of football. I played sports. We enjoyed life. Sometimes spent with the grandkids, completely normal stuff, knowing that I don't want to work as a coach anymore. This is what I think now. I don't miss anything. Does that surprise you, Danny? That he's not saying, at some stage I'll be back. I don't know when, but he's not. He said, I do not miss a thing about it.
I think I'm surprised a little bit, because there's always bits that are so good about it that you must miss that euphoric feeling of achieving wonderful things with a group of players and millions of supporters across the world reveling in that success because of him. That would be crazy that you don't miss some of that. But I think he's probably talking more overall, the stress of it, the intensity of it, the demanding side of it from his maybe his mental health, the physical attribute, the physical output, I should say. So he's probably quite generic in that statement. You know, I miss, but deep down there'll be some bits, of course.
Do you miss anything about it?
Yeah, but not like I did. It took me years to miss. I used to miss the playing, not so much the training, the competition of it. You know, the feeling of success when you walk off a pitch and you've won and you've played well and you've scored or you've contributed hugely to a successful day, and the plaudits from it that come, your ego, the feeling worthy.
Yeah,
like I'm here for a reason.
Yeah,
I missed that for years. It's like what am I actually? I'm not contributing.
Right. Essentially, Klopp is saying, I've got my life back, Simon. He's saying during almost 25 years, I twice went to a wedding. One of them was mine, and the other one was 2 months ago. In 25 years, I've been 4 times to the cinema, all in the last 8 weeks. What is nice is be able to do it. I've got the choice now. I can go on holiday, but it's not the Premier League or the Bundesliga deciding. Simon, you were in charge of Palace for, what, a decade?
Yes.
And it must have consumed your life. Every waking moment, you were trying to do things for that football club to improve it, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I had other businesses that I was involved in that consumed me far more. I mean, I find some of this stuff perplexing about how much time people allocate to their life and how much time they think they need to do their job and how little time they have to do anything else. Because, you know, I find that perplexing, but because I've seen managers work, maybe I'm just not seeing top class managers because of the scale of football club that I had, and maybe I'm being unfair. I mean, this is a considered response from somebody that's now been away from the job for 15 months. 16 months now, and obviously there might be a little bit of the fact that Liverpool have gone on and don't miss him that might resonate in the back of his mind. I mean, of course, he's in a wonderful position that football's put him in, because the economics of football have arrived at a time in his life where, at this stage in his life, 57, 58, 59 years of age, he probably doesn't have to do another thing in his life again if he chooses to, because football has given him that. So when he talks about he can go to the cinema or he can go to a holiday because he's not determined by the Premier League and Bundesliga, well, those spaces and places gave him the financial rewards to be able to do precisely what he wanted, whenever he wanted, at whatever time he wanted, and probably could have done it for one season. I think he's a miss. I think he was a fabulous manager. I think he was a great personality. I think very rarely did he get it wrong. A couple of times he got put in his place. I think Des Kelly put him in his place once when he, I think, got carried away about the broadcasters and what they could and couldn't do and what they should and shouldn't do in one particular interview. I think he overreached. But I think most of the time, I know he didn't agree with some of the things I said, but then why should he? I think he was a revelation in the Premier League. I think his team were a revelation. I think they're one of the most enjoyable sides to have watched. I think he transported Liverpool back to a period that was last seen probably with Kenny Dalglish. And with all of that, you've got to give him immense credit. And I think Arne Slot is a very lucky boy to have walked into an environment that fella curated and created for the 8 or 9 years it was.
But clearly, one suit doesn't fit all, does it? Does it break the mould? You can see Mourinho at Stamford Bridge last night with Benfica, having been with Roma, having been with Fenerbahce, having been here and there.
You mean hanging on?
Right. Still in there, still wanting to work in the game.
Everyone's different. I mean, I see
Maybe he stayed longer than he should have, you could argue.
Yeah.
But as Klopp has said, that's it. Goodbye.
Yeah, and I think there's something admirable about that, but it's a very individual thing. You know, depends what stimulates you, depends what gets you out of bed in the morning, doesn't it? I mean, I'd like to see him back, of course, because I agree with Simon's sentiments. He's very charismatic. He's quite unique in the way he conducts himself with the praise. Engaging, I think. And I don't know. I still a feeling in the back of my mind he might come back, especially if it was
I've got to say I don't.
A Barca or Madrid.
On the strength of that, I don't.
Another year down the line, he might be sick of going on holiday.
There's very few people, and you can name them on fingers of one hand, that actually walk away from things and never come back when you think they're at the peak of their powers. Lennox Lewis is a classic case in point where he decided he was going to go out, maybe because he saw the writing on the wall against Vitaly Klitschko, but notwithstanding that, he still went out on top. You know, Mourinho stayed around because Mourinho wants to be involved in sport. It certainly ain't for the dough, is it?
No.
Because he's had more payouts than anyone has ever had in their life. So he's not economically motivated. He's motivated by the spirit of the game. And despite your irritation at some of his antics, there has to be some admiration for that. Because he's not doing it for money. He's doing it because he wants to be involved.
Oh, for sure.
Football.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I would agree with that. It's just the Klopp way of doing it. He's answering his own question. What do I miss? What do I miss?
But he's doing an interview about football.
Yeah.
So he's not doing a lifestyle magazine talking about the antics of his new set of teeth. He's talking about. By the way, they're looking bigger now, aren't they? Because he's getting slimmer.
Yeah.
But he's doing his turkey teeth. He's talking about football.
Yeah.
So he's still talking about football in a football publication. Now, I know they would have approached him.
No,
but if he switched the valve off and didn't want to talk about it full stop, he wouldn't now be talking about it. So I do hope we see the like of him again. I do hope that he comes back because I think his brand of football, his brand of personality is valuable.
And you're like Danny, you miss him. You miss his presence. You miss his quotes. You miss his
there's lots to miss.
Character.
There's lots to miss. Yeah.
Whenever there's a character that leaves the room, we live in a world where characters are frowned upon. We live in a world where people are judged by the fact that if they're not vanilla, they don't say the right thing. That they're even. He was to me someone that was a very engaging personality, and the more of those we have in the world, the better it is.
You're right. When the time comes, will you both miss me?
Yes.
In what respect?
Certain parts of you.
I'll be a pallbearer.
You'll be a pallbearer.
I'll do that.
No, I put my hand up for that first.
There's a fight here to see who'll be a pallbearer at my big gig. You don't want to miss that. It'll be live on talkSPORT.
How many eulogies do you want?
Oh, plenty. It'll go on for days. Days. It's 12:16. just want to touch on the Tottenham situation, not on the field but off it. On the field, we know what they're trying to do under Thomas Frank, although they were held to a 2-2 draw last night against Bodo Glimt. But we know, of course, that the man who was chairman for such a long period of time, Daniel Levy, has gone. He had appointed Rothschild to help find potential external investment in April 2024. And it was still advising Spurs until recently. Since Daniel Levy's departure, Spurs have rejected 2 expressions of interest from Amanda Staveley's PCP International Finance and Firehawk Holdings. But Tottenham, as I say, have ended their relationship with Rothschild, now reaffirming their not for sale stance. But only last week, Simon, there was talk of a potential investment. And Tottenham stepped in to unequivocally reject an informal expression of interest from a US consortium led by the American tech entrepreneur, a man by the name of Brooklyn Eric. Eric is a former disc jockey who worked in spacecraft research for NASA before founding Redacted R&D, which focuses on technology, media, sport and entertainment.
Oh.
So obviously he has sizable financial backing, but Tottenham unequivocally rejected it. Can Tottenham be any clearer here? Can the Joe Lewis family be any clearer here? This club is not for sale, because they still seem to be coming out the long grass.
They haven't had any serious bids. They asked Amanda Staveley's people to formalise their bid in line with the obligations that you have as listed stock, because they have certain aspects of their stock that are listed. So they walked away from it. So Amanda and her crowd walked away from it. And these guys are making an informal approach through the media as a result of a consortium. And more often than not, do I think Tottenham is for sale? I think everything is for sale. It may not be you're actively marketing in it. You may not produce a sales and marketing document to sell something, but if somebody wants to walk through the front door and pay the price that gets you out the door, you will sell it.
Including the Lewis family?
Including Tottenham Hotspur, yeah.
I mean, they said recently, this unsolicited, unnecessary interest does nothing to change the family's resolve. The club is not for sale.
Well, that's the best way to sell something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it means you're not hostage to fortune about people suggesting they can lowball you. People will pay you the price that you are prepared to sell for, or they'll go away. And they'll be under no illusion that they can chip, they can use metrics that a marketplace suggests is the valuation of a football club. The valuation that Tottenham Hotspur put on themselves is the valuation that they will sell it for, not the valuation that others think they can buy it for.
See, this gentleman, Brooklyn Eric, only on Friday there on Instagram, he posted a photograph of the Spurs dressing room with a countdown to the deadline.
I mean, what a gimp.
His consortium... Brooklyn, if you're listening, just ignore that remark.
12?
The consortium has until 5 o'clock on October the 24th to announce a firm intention to make an offer for the football club or not. So what I'm driving at is this. Is it easy to separate the so-called tire kickers from the real thing when it comes to prospective buyers?
More often than not, yeah, because...
Did you have people coming at you when you were at Palace?
Well, when I bought Palace, which is a better yardstick, I went and did the deal and didn't conduct it through the media. So more often than not, it's not always the case. You can use the Chelsea case as an example, but that was a government-conducted sale. That was a sanctioned football club that was being put into the public domain by the government, saying that it's got to be sold in a certain way. So that's the reasons why that was conducted in a certain way. And yes, there are a few other examples, but most of the time, you find the seriousness of a bid based upon the integrity of the person that wants to buy the football club, isn't wanting to do the dance of the seven veils in front of the media. Right. Alongside that, when you've got a consortium of about 12 different people, who are you dealing with? Who are you dealing with? Aunt, Uncle Tom Cobley. You're dealing with to me, I looked at that when I first looked at it. I don't care what someone did in the background, because everyone in their life has done something that may not be quite as glamorous as the financial position they're in now. So the fact that people want to categorise him as a DJ is irrelevant.
Yes,
the man's clearly nobody's fool, but the fact is he's conducting himself in a way that's courting interest. No serious... I know we live in a different age now, and I accept it, and people do things differently, but no serious person buying an asset for £4.5 billion conducts it on bloody Instagram.
No.
What is a gimp?
Let's not get into
this
that.
fella.
No serious bidder, I suppose, would make the informal approach, as he reportedly did, through an email to check whether or not the club was for sale. And there were no advisors to the approach, nor any proof of funds.
Dear Joe, DJ here. Up for sale, are you? I remember getting once a text message from Banksy, apparently, wanting to buy Bristol Rovers. And you had to read it to believe it, what it was. Some letter.
I mean, Daniel X springs to mind here, Simon, and Arsenal, doesn't it?
What about it?
The founder of Spotify.
Yeah, did Arsenal a favour because it livened up stand, didn't it?
But it's similar tactics, isn't it? Went online, I'm going to buy this football club, and he set the hair running.
Well, he certainly got Stan Kroenke's mind focused on, rather than being someone that people perceived as being silent Stan, that was the only billionaire comfortable with mediocrity, as to somebody now that was actually looking at the asset, looking at the opportunity, rather than looking at the Colorado Rapids or the Los Angeles football team that he owned, the Raiders, I think. Is it the Raiders he owns or the Clippers? Whatever. He owns one of them.
Rams, I think.
Rams, okay.
Yeah.
The size and size and scale of those American franchises were at the prevalence of his mind, and Arsenal was sort of arm's length subsidiary. With that kind of dough going around and that kind of thought process, it changed the direction of travel. Josh Kroenke goes in it, Arsenal haven't looked back, right?
Right.
Now, whether Stefan Eck was the real deal in terms of wanting to put together a deal, he offered £2 billion for a football
Daniel
club.
Eck was in. Stefan...
Whoever it was a Scandinavian, right?
Sure.
The fact of the matter is he offered about £2 billion. Was it Daniel Eck, was it?
Yes.
Right, okay. So Daniel Eck, right, offered £2 billion, and it got nowhere.
News. Yeah. Yeah, true.
And it didn't get done, did it?
It didn't get done. But in terms of Premier League
question, then.
In terms of Premier League clubs being up for sale, though, is it logical to think that Spurs are the next cab off the rank?
I think it's a bloody good buy. If someone has the wherewithal financially.
Yeah.
If I were a Middle Eastern consortium, and if I were in Newcastle now, I'd be flipping that football club and buying Tottenham Hotspur. That's what I'd be doing if I was the PIF fund.
Yeah.
But the difference is between those guys. I mean, of course, it's not a nation-state thing, is it? But if it were a nation-state thing, let's say, I would be doing that, because the influence that you bought Newcastle for is much easily achieved at Tottenham, because they're already in that revenue generation model.
So you've gone from recommending him Sheffield Wednesday, now Tottenham.
Well, we'll find out sooner than later.
No, that's different. PIF is one thing, and Turkey Al Sheikh is another.
Maybe it'll help if we can touch base somehow with the American tech entrepreneur Brooklyn Eric, and we'll find out what he's all about.
Spin us a few discs.
Who this lunchtime we're surprised to hear that he was described as a gimp live in talkSPORT. It's 12:30.
His actions were gimpy.
Liverpool lost their goalkeeper as well as the game at Galatasaray. Alisson won't play against Chelsea on Saturday after injuring himself, sprinting back to deny Victor Osimhen a second goal. Arne Slot was forced to rotate, but says he's happy with Liverpool's slimmer squad.
If you have 25, it's very hard to manage your squad. But as a result of that, with Hugo, Alex, Connor, McAllister not having the pre-season as a player should have, that also results in the fact that I cannot play them every time.
Enzo Maresca enjoyed Chelsea's ugly win to Benfica, but do they have a discipline problem? João Pedro's second yellow for a high foot is Chelsea's third sending off in 4 games. Here's Maresca.
Sanchez is not for bad action, it's just because he wants to defend the goal. Chalobah is because he wants to defend the goal. And tonight, I think the second yellow card, Joao not even touch the other player, but the dynamic of the action is dangerous one.
Meanwhile, Thomas Frank admits Bodo Glimt were the better side for over an hour before Spurs battled back to 2-2.
We kept doing the right thing. We kept moving the ball, kept producing situations from the side, and showed great character to come back into the game, which I'm very, very pleased with.
In the Championship, Sheffield United boss Chris Wilder was sent off for booting a ball into one of his own fans as they lost at home to Southampton. Wilder immediately made sure the guy was okay. Assistant Alan Nill said the game was too big for referee Adam Herkzig.
Bit of boxing for you this lunchtime, and we head to far-off Nigeria and West Africa for this. We had touched on yesterday, we spoke to Amir Khan. Nigeria this week hosts the second of Amir's promotions in Africa, following his debut event as a promoter in Ghana. That was back in June. This time, African-American cruiserweights Brandon Glanton and Marcus Brown head up the card, and the fight takes place this very day, which is Nigeria's Independence Day. It's been broadcast on DAZN as well as the talkSPORT boxing YouTube channel. Let's head out there now and speak to Spencer Oliver. Spencer, what's the build-up like?
Yeah, it's been brilliant out here, Jim. You know, there's a real appetite for boxing out here. We went to the local gyms and the gyms, you know, the young kids that are inspired by this next generation of fighters. And they have really got a great generation of fighters. But they're just looking for opportunity, and now they get that opportunity with Balmoral Promotions, Amir Khan Promotions, Easy Adamu. You know, investing in boxing in this part of the world is a massive thing. Like, you have to go back to like 1974, October 74, you know, Ali versus Foreman for when we had those big fights here, and that's what they're trying to achieve again, Jim. It's going to be a special night, a very big night. I know the arena is absolutely packed out.
Well, we also know, Spencer, that heading to the arena, although not fighting on this occasion, is Moses Atoma, the WBO #1 ranked contender. Moses, of course, demolishes anybody who's put in front of him at this precise time. If you're watching on YouTube this lunchtime, you can see pictures coming in of Moses over in Lagos, Nigeria right now. And that is Moses just a few moments ago being called to a press conference of sorts by the organisers out there. So some kind of an announcement is due to be made. We know he's going to fight on December the 13th in Manchester. Is it likely in the next few moments, Spencer, we're going to find out who the opponent is?
Yes, it is likely, Jim. I think that is what that is all about. December the 13th, Manchester. There's been speculation that Moses Atoma was going to fight Michael Hunter. And who's turned up here yesterday? David Adelaide. And now strong rumours are circulating that is the opponent. We get David Adelaide versus Moses Atoma, December the 13th, headlining in Manchester. What a fight that would be, and what an opportunity for David Adelaide. I spoke to him yesterday, and he said, you know what? He will take on anybody. That's what he's all about. That's what he fancies. So put 2 and 2 together, you would come up with Adelaide versus Moses Atoma, I'm sure.
Okay, well, Simon, if that is the case, we know that Adelaide found Filip Hrgović a bit too hot to handle recently.
Well, I mean, I've got to be honest, it's one of the rare things I've said that I've gotten right. I said 3 or 4 weeks ago, or certainly 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'd be interested to see if Adelaide gets a shot against Atoma. I said it to Adam Booth. Adam Booth said they'll take that fight all day. He's a lucky boy, David, because I'm surprised if it wasn't Moses Atoma being such a strong, building such a strong profile behind Moses Atoma, I'm not sure that Frank would give David quite the opportunity, because this is another showcasing of David Adelaide. I think the fight against Filip Hrgović, David did what he could have done, should have done. So he's got another opportunity, because if he goes in and deals with Moses Atoma, which, by the way, I don't think he will, then David Adelaide's star has gone. He's gone from somebody that turned up for the Hrgović fight, and I felt took it too easy and actually was more relaxed after the fight than he should have been, to someone that's now getting a shot against the biggest prospect in heavyweight boxing in the world.
Okay, well, I mean, we emphasise, Spencer, this is unconfirmed at this time. What chance would you give Adelaide against Moses Atoma?
Well, Moses Atoma is Simon's right in what he says. You know, he is the next big thing in heavyweight boxing, and we were talking about this on Talk Boxing just a few weeks ago. And Adam Booth, as Simon said there, said that he would take it in a heartbeat. You've got to give him a chance, because he's heavy-handed and he comes to fight. He showed a lot of character against Filip Hrgović, but also showed limitations. And I'm not sure that they can turn that around. I know Adam Booth was talking about, David Adelaide not implementing the tactics that he should have implemented. Experience. He's learned from that. He's going to come back better, stronger. But again, this is the Moses Atoma show, and I think this is another opponent that's been put in front of him to say, look, see if we can get the rounds out. Because I think that's what they're trying to do with that Moses Atoma. And I think he gets the rounds, by the way, with David Adelaide. I think he wins the fight, but I think that David Adelaide definitely gives him a good go, and he gets the rounds in the belt. And that's the most important thing, I think, for Moses.
I mean, the fight's only 9 weeks away, Simon, so we've got to find out sooner or later who's Moses' next opponent.
Well, absolutely. I mean, either which way, I mean, it's going to be a great fight card, because on the undercard of that is Derek Chisora, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Derek Chisora had a good conversation with Derek the other day, actually. December the 13th is definitely the date. They're still unsure.
And that
who
could be
the
Derek Chisora versus Daniel Dubois, couldn't it?
Well, it could be, yeah. They're still unsure of the opponent. Like Derek's not confirmed that, but you're sort of like piecing it together. Daniel Dubois coming back in December. Frank Warren, he has hold of all of these heavyweights, which is so good for boxing, because it's taking the politics away from it, and we are getting the fights that we crave to see. And also, like you said, Simon, I think that these fighters are getting an opportunity. They're one win away from another big fight. And even if they lose, and go out with a bit of spirit, they get that opportunity again, which is great for the fighters.
Yeah. I mean, time's getting on, Spencer. This is the world of boxing, isn't it? At the moment, we've got Atoma versus TBC, but we think it's Adelaide. And we've got Chisora versus TBC. And we're not quite sure, but it might be Dubois.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's pretty much where we're at. I'm sure the fighters know, and that's the most important thing, Jim. I think it's all about timing when they do these announcements. But those two fights now have been made. Who the opponent is, we're unsure. We're speculating, but we have a good idea, and I think that they may be the two opponents that we see him with, Chisora and Moses Atoma, for sure. And what a great finish to the year that would be for heavyweight boxing.
It would be. And Spencer, it would be remiss of me not to wish you happy Nigeria Independence Day.
Absolutely. I'm buzzing for it out here, Jim. There is, like I say, a real appetite out here. Amir Khan's nephew, Abdul Khan, he's on the bill, and we get Dan Aziz. He's trying to get back into title contention, and a whole host of local talent as well. It's going to be a real barnstormer of a show. You can catch all the action from 5 p.m. live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, also being aired on DAZN as well.
Spencer, thank you very much indeed. Spencer Oliver over in Nigeria. My God, he's done some amount of travelling, has he not, Spence?
Spence, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Gets about, doesn't he?
Atoma, Adelaide, maybe one thing. Chisora Dubois, that whets the appetite, doesn't it?
Very much so, for a number of reasons, because nobody really knocks Derek Chisora out. And Daniel Dubois coming back from that comprehensive defeat against Alexander Usyk and the training regime being changed and the rebuild being required, and Derek being a national treasure that's going out and not the last dance too.
Yeah, but I remember what Usyk said to you when you asked him about who's been your toughest opponent.
Most difficult fight, Derek Chisora. Yeah. So I mean, if you've got Moses Atoma, if it's Moses fighting David Adelaide, that's a good fight. If you've got Derek Chisora underneath it fighting Daniel Dubois, that's a good fight. It's another great set of fights coming up to the Christmas period, which normally finishes the year strongly anyway.
It is. Danny, want to jump in here because you've been too quiet too long. Want to bring you in on this one. The thorny subject of player welfare. The Global Players Union, FIFPro, have released their annual study of player health and performance impact, and have found once again that football's top stars are playing too many games, too much travel, not enough time in between the seasons. Certainly, the way they spell this out, Danny, it would seem they do seem to have a case. I mean, Chelsea and PSG, the two finalists in the Club World Cup, they gave their players 20 and 22 days off respectively and held pre-season camps of only 13 and 7 days respectively. Looking at individual players, Bastoni of Inter Milan, Fabian Ruiz of PSG, Real Madrid's Federico Valverde all played more than 70 games last season. The Bayern Munich defender, Kim Min-jae, played 20 consecutive back-to-back games, which are games without 5 days rest in between them. Have they got a case, FIFPro? Is it, let's have a look at this?
I think the percentage of players that affects is so small that it's not a strong enough argument for me to bring it up constantly and make a big deal of it. Now, if you're playing 70 games, like if you talk about, I think you mentioned Valverde, who's a very athletic, dynamic guy.
Yeah.
That's up to the club to rotate him and use him in the game. I mean, if he's playing 70 games, why is he playing when they're winning 5-0 at home? You know, in league, you've got a squad of 25 internationals now. You're paying a fortune for all these players. Rotate your players better. You're the club. Your choice to go to the Club World Cup. You don't have to go. And if you do go, give him a rest if you're that worried.
I mean, he's set to, I think he's Uruguayan, isn't he? So he's one of the ones that falls into the category of when he's on international duty, he flies thousands of miles around the planet. Same with the Australians, same with New Zealand. In fact, New Zealander Chris Wood, he of Nottingham Forest, he says you play a game on a Saturday, if you've got an international travel coming up, say for his country in New Zealand, sometimes he's on a plane 3 hours after finishing a game for Forest, ready to travel 30 hours to New Zealand. He says, and I know, Simon, you might jump on this, but look at your face, you're about to. In most cases, you'll get a lie-down seat, but it doesn't give your body enough time to adapt or recover from the extreme workload that you do in a game.
In most cases.
Don't go there.
Well, then stay in New Zealand and get paid 25p a week, or come to the Premier League and get paid 50, 60, 70, 80 grand a week. Pack it in. And what is FIFPro doing? What are they achieving with this? What solutions are they providing with it? We all know there's a lot of games being asked of these players, and why? Because the economics of football have detailed that. So what is it you want to do? You want to take all the money, play less games, and have no solution to the challenge that football has now got itself into, which is we can't afford these bleeding players, so we have to play more games. So what's your solution? What is this union solution? What is the PFA solution to their constant gripe about what they haven't got, rather than what they have got? You've got it all. You've taken everything out of the room. There's nothing left. And you want some more too. And by the way, when there's something actually meaningful, like a player's appalling behaviour, you don't pop up and say anything about it.
Right. Well, we did ask FIFPro for their views on this and to come on the show and join us live. And then we thought, well, there's one reason why they gave us an emphatic no.
Because they're gutless and they haven't got a reasonable argument. They can't stand it up. That's why.
No, we think
otherwise they destroy people like me.
We think more accurately, it's the presence of you.
Just
they
quickly,
could destroy my argument, couldn't they? If they've got substance on this side, they can make mincemeat out of me. Couldn't they?
The other thing they're not. The other thing for the tiny percentage players who are playing that amount of games and not getting the rest, they're all different positions and all built physically at different ages. Because even when I was playing, and we do the data on different players. Amazingly, some players recover 10 times more quickly than others, or 5 times more quickly than others. Position you play determines
how many games you play in a season. You weren't playing 70 in a season.
No, probably 55 maybe on a busy in my earlier years. But I'd have played 70, no problem, if you asked me to, and never said a word.
Yeah,
because I'm privileged to be in that position.
But it's the ones who are doing the lengthy travel.
Well,
this is the one that
manage it
to.
then.
Valverde, Uruguay.
Manage it. Don't go.
Chris Wood.
Get back and have a rest.
In spite of his cheat.
There's not that many players whinging about it, is there?
Not really. They're poked at and they're stoked at. The media get them at it, and then the union they keep on asking them the same question: Are you unhappy with the amount of games you're playing? Until such a point they go, "Yeah, I am. I am unhappy."
Yeah,
because they keep going egged into it.
And then when they get left out,
their 2 penny in there. And when they get dropped out, hang on, I'm not playing enough games.
Yeah, that aching jaw doesn't seem to be giving you many problems this lunchtime.
It is a little bit.
It will in a moment. It's 10-1. It is 10-1. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy. Thanks for all the messages in the last 3 hours. Absolutely love it. The response we get is quite mind-boggling on a daily basis. We're going to head back out to New York because for some reason talkSPORT's golf correspondent Rupert Bell still refuses to come back following the Ryder Cup. Rupert, what's going on with you?
I'm going to have a break, Jim. I'm going up to Maine for a week, having a bit of a holiday after the shenanigans and the pressure of being at the Ryder Cup, which was the most wonderful result, although at times there were some unedifying aspects of it. But
the pressure of being at the Ryder Cup? What pressure are you under? Swanning around having a wonderful time watching some of the best golf in the world.
Well, thank you, Simon, for those encouraging words. I could always rely on you to take the mickey out of me.
Just want to give you a little boost?
Yeah, it was intense, I can assure you, Simon. Fabulous. It's the greatest sporting week that I'm privileged to cover, without question, even though there were aspects of this one that were slightly unsavoury. What we saw out on the course from a sporting spectacle was just fantastic.
Actually, Rupert, I want to jump in that. In view of everything you've done, and you've been at a high level of reporting all around the world, a variety of different sports. This was the week for you, was it? This was the standout.
The Ryder Cup always is. I mean, I was at Miracle in Medina. I've seen 3 away victories. The Ryder Cup just brings something special about it because, okay, we go to majors, we go to Masters and other golf events, but there is something so different. It's every 2 years, so it's not overloaded on us. You know, we can really build up and enjoy it. And that's why I think it's such a special sporting week for the game of golf.
Rupert, can I ask so many things about the Ryder Cup to talk about, but the main one I heard Keegan Bradley talk about was the course setup and how he thinks he might have got that wrong. What do you think his thinking was by making it so much easier?
No idea. Bethpage is supposed to be the hardest course but the thing is, all the Europeans now play over in America. Yeah. So it's not like the old days where half the team barely came over and not only knew their opponents, but actually had played their courses. So this is why it is so different now. Everyone, apart from Rasmus Højgaard, are regular PGA Tour players. So whatever they provide, they're used to the greens. But Bethpage, they wanted it to be a putting competition. Well, unfortunately, they just didn't turn up with their putter until the last day because the Europeans out-putted them every which way over those first 2 days.
Rupert, I mean, the sensible money is on Tiger Woods being captain of the Americans next time around. But I know you were in front of Justin Rose and you spoke to him about the possibility of him taking the European captaincy in 2 years. And this was Justin.
Luke has been absolutely phenomenal. He's really given his heart and soul to this thing for obviously for 4 years now. He's left a seriously strong blueprint, and actually he's made it very daunting for the next guy. So, but you know, the European legends of the game have always said, play as long as you can because they're the best days of your life. There's time for vice captains, there's time for captaincy, and when it's the right time, if I'm ever asked, oh my God, yes, please. But I love being in battle. You know, it kind of fires me up. It takes me to a place I didn't know I could go. And I think after being a pro for 28 years, I had to go places this week where I've never been before. You know, it's tested my resolve. I feel like I've never played in an environment like this before. So to feel like I'm learning as a player at 45 is incredible. And I think that I need to protect that as long as I can.
Wow, that was some interview, Rupert. Well done with that. So from that, can we take it that, nah, not yet, not for me? That's a message that Rose is sending out.
Well, there are 2 things that why he probably doesn't want to do it yet. Yes, he's 45, but he is well ranked, number 12. So he's still as competitive as it's possible to be, and he doesn't want to let go of that. You know, he's been playing, you know, since he burst on the scene as an amateur at 17 at Birkdale when he finished 4th, and then he missed all those cuts, and then he's now been a regular on the tour. He enjoys it as much as ever. But the captaincy will come his way. Can they persuade Luke Donald to do it for a 3rd time? I think there's a chance that would happen, and then I can see Justin Rose doing it in 4 years' time because he's used to the American environment, and he will be a very calm, steady hand on the tiller because he's a bit like Luke Donald, a sort of quite a, you know, well, I think his behaviour on after the party might have been quite wild because I think he was ready for a big party. But under normal circumstances, he is the kind of leader who would bring a lot to the party, and he says he will. but I think Luke Donald is still the man. Tiger Woods is not a shoo-in to be the US captain, but the one reason that he might be persuaded is his friendship with JP McManus, because at Adair Manor, that venue is owned by JP McManus, and Tiger has been to play golf there. They have a very good relationship, so that might be the reason why Tiger Woods could step up and take over the American captaincy.
Okay, Rupert, not for the first time, thank you so much for what you brought us from Bethpage, and enjoy your last few days out there in the US, even though you think he's swanning around, having a bit of a holiday. He's quite right. He's quite right to be swanning around after the work
Maine
he
is
put
a beautiful
in.
part of the world.
Long days for the talkSPORT boys out there from dawn till dusk.
Well, have you?
I have been skiing in Maine, yes. It's very much part of the world.
Oh, have you?
Stephen King country, isn't it?
Is that another sport you excelled at?
No, absolutely crap.
Wait.
Really? That surprises me.
A over T all the way down the down the slopes.
Well, it's time to go home and rest up that weary jaw.
I have other things to do. I'm a busy person. I will not be resting at all.
Okay, Danny, thank you, mate, for everything. Glasgow, prepare yourself. We're coming up, Mr. Jordan and myself, tomorrow night, and we'll see you at the Chris Boyd lunch on Friday. In the meantime, we're back before that at 10 tomorrow morning. It is 1 o'clock this Wednesday lunchtime.